What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I appreciate y'all. Obviously, I appreciate y'all bearing with me. Thank you for being patient and rocking. You guys know how it is. Every time I get ready to do these Saturday shows, anything and everything can happen. Um, you know, I can't, really leave once I get here and I start. So I got to make sure everything is straight. And let me tell you, anything that could and will go wrong before you start a show always happens to me. Not every Saturday, but Saturdays are pretty funky. So anyway, but we here now. And so let's get it cracking. First off, once again, happy Saturday to you guys. You know, I like to give you guys a little impromptu weather report on the East Coast. I think we looking it's a little iffy. As they say, it's fair right now, 84 degrees on the northeast. If you're in the New York area, it's not too bad, but there's a chance of rain. Oh wow, 65% by 3 p.m. That's usually pretty real. Anyway, but it doesn't look like it's gonna last too long. It's gonna be coming and going. So you know what I mean? After you hear chopping it up with me, you go out there and enjoy your day, make the best of it. Our weekends are short, so we got to take advantage of it, man. Really. And as you can see, I've got the morning cup of Joe. No, I don't have the morning cup of Joe. We already went through this, guys. We realized that iced coffee for Ron's throat does not work. The vocals get all congested, and then I'm over here like so we're going iced tea today, folks. We're going iced tea. If I want coffee, I got to drink it before the show. I'm sorry. I know it's my usual thing, but hot coffee is okay, but iced coffee, I can't do it. I don't know what it is. But listen, it makes sense. Singers and stuff, performers, they drink hot tea or something before they perform. They're not drinking iced stuff. So, hey, all right, enough about me. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys as always. Walter Blackman, you know how I give it up. I appreciate you, my brother. I hope you're doing well. David L. in the building. Salute to you. Hope you're doing well. Dwayne Dennis is here. Salute. Trini Harlem Jr. in the building. What's good? Angel Torres, my guy. What's popping? And what would the show be without Stream Elements? I don't know. I never forget the first day I saw Stream Elements in the chat. I'm like, what the hell is this? But hey, Stream Elements, I'm rocking with you. It must be, if you guys don't know, I think Stream Elements is a YouTube thing. That when you start a stream, it pops up and they kind of help monitor different things with the stream. Like I don't know. Maybe it keeps track of like membership, because I think I got a message from Stream Elements one time. You got a new member. So whatever. I'm rocking with it. Okay. Anyway. All right. So as you guys know, this is always on Saturdays. It's an open panel. So you're welcome to come up and join the show. I will put the link in the chat. And we can have a great dialogue and talk about these Knicks. We're starting to get into the point where there's actually going to be some real news. Training camp is right around the corner. I'm getting excited finally, because this is taking forever. This has been the longest off season in the world. So definitely you're welcome to come up and we'll talk about stuff and chop it up. I already got somebody waiting backstage that I'm looking forward to talk to, and then we haven't talked in a minute, so I'm happy that he's here. Yeah, man, so I'm excited for the show. Shout out to Will Salkin in the building. Appreciate you, Will. And also shout out to my guy Alan Alford. He said, what? What about me, Ron? Your dog ain't. Yeah. Oh, man. Of course, brother. Now that I see you here, salute to you, my brother. And salute to my guy, JJ. JJ, you don't know how excited and ready I am for tomorrow. And I'm mad but I like it because it's great, because that means we highlight it. But I'm not happy that I got to wait till 8 o'clock at night to watch my Giants play. But, oh, man, am I excited. You don't know. You don't know. This is the one to steal, man. I hate them Cowboys. If there's ever a chance we can get one, this is it. All right. Okay. Let me calm down. Whew. All right. So let's do this, guys. Let me make sure I put the okay, it's there. The link is in the chat. If anybody wants to jump on, let's hit the intro and let's start chopping it up. That sounds good to me. I like that plan. All right. We'll be right back after this. That's for my guy Wiz, because he always wants to see me dancing. I don't want to dance, Wiz. All right. Hey, all right. I love it. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Let's start bringing guests on. I love it. And shout out to Parish Duggar. What's going on, my brother? He said no, so it's prime time. Okay. All right. I hear you. I know what you're talking about. All right. Let's see. First off, let me bring my guy up here, a friend of the show. He's family already. Noah Cahill in the building. What's good, Noah? What's happening, my brother?
Yo, what's going on? I appreciate you having me on. It's been a long time. I don't even remember the last time I was on here. I don't know if we made I don't think we made the playoffs the last time when we got Kemba Walker. We're somewhat excited. We didn't really know what to expect. Some people thought he was going to be like 60% of himself, but the Knicks are obviously I would say they're in a better direction now than maybe they were the last time I was on here. We have more upside, but thanks for having me on. I'm always happy to talk about the Knicks.
Yeah, man, definitely dope. It's dope to have you. We always have great conversations, and I look forward to having you on the Monday night show at some point right before we get into the season. So that should be pretty cool. We may I don't know, do some predictions or whatever. You know how we do. So we'll see. And also a first timer to the Still Knick Fans show on the panel. Double A in the building, my guy. What's good?
What's good, fellas?
How are you?
Ready to kick it as always.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you.
Trying to maintain a positive attitude for my Knicks this year, but you got to look at the USA's down. Okay, they went down because of size. Okay, the NBA is now returning to size. Okay, they didn't learn a lesson, man. Germany, they just out-muscled them, out-rebounded them, out-physicaled them. The NBA is headed that way, and that's why I'm worried about our Knicks, okay? And just the fact of doing things like taking Hart, who's a top rebounding guard in the NBA, a rebounding guard, mind you, and turning him into a backup power forward. That's kind of like wasting the man's talent, And these are the things that I'm looking. We still need some twinkles on our roster. Our roster still needs some adjustments and movements. Where's the playing time going to go for all these guys? I mean, Dante, Hart, Grimes. We got to find minutes for these guys quickly. Are we really going to give Quickly the bag and play him less than 20 minutes a game? I mean, we got Brunson as a starter. He's going to eat up the point guard minutes. You might have maybe 10 minutes left after he runs. Okay, who's the shooting guard? We start Grimes. Where everybody else is going to play. That's my whole thing, Ron.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I could understand what you're thinking. That actually is something I wanted to talk about today as well. And we can start off with that because I think that this is something that is trending. Everything happens in cycles. Life is like that, and sports is no different. Yeah. We've seen it, from the beginning of time. It always happens that way. There's something new that catches fire, and then everybody adapts it, and then eventually, because of whatever reason, maybe it's the players, whatever, it dies out a little bit, and it reverts back to what it was because that's easy. That's what people know. It's like this is what you're used to, so it's easy to go back to that. And I have a feeling that you have a good point, and is it time for the NBA to accept change and feature the big man again? Because that is what NBA basketball was. You got it's crazy because you remember how prominent the big man was in the NBA, the Duncans, the Robinsons, Elijah ones. You can keep naming names, right? And then all of a sudden, teams started, those guys started to kind of get out of the league. And then you had the younger generation of guys, Ola Wakande and all these other guys. Like, teams are still trying to draft big men that they think are going to fill that void. And what happens is eventually, and we're talking about all types of the Samuel Dallenberts, all types of big men. Eventually, because of Steph Curry, listen, we know that it is what it is. Steph Curry came in and started lighting it up. and everybody was like, whoa. And then they had Clay, and then they lied, but that was a special team. They're able to like reinvent the wheel because they're so good at it.
Exactly.
And then everybody started to adapt adapt.
We can't afford to do that because I feel like we kind of have more of a vanilla offense. The Warriors, they run certain sets that the Knicks don't run. And I feel like it really comes down to the way your team is constructed. Obviously, when it comes to FIBA basketball, the game's a lot different. Like, you can camp in the paint, and they're a lot more physical, so they're playing those rules. But I agree with you completely, 100%. We do need more size on this team. I feel like we need more length. We need more athleticism. We need more switchable bodies. And yeah, quickly, do we go on to pay quickly, or like we go on to ride him with this contract? Because maybe Dante DiVincenzo is Quickly's replacement on a cheaper deal. But yeah, great points, guys.
Yeah, and before we get back to you, Alan, I want to get your take on it too. Is we're in a position where it's like the infancy of this whole thing. Like, it's time to maybe start adopting going back, because the other thing is, like I was saying, Golden State created this trend, but even Golden State, they're getting older. They're not shooting at the same clip that they used to. Steph Curry is still a very good shooter, but even he looks more human now. Klay Thompson definitely looks more human now because of the injury and stuff that's happened with him. So that style of basketball, it's hard to maintain when you don't have the upper echelon of shooters. That's why other teams are trying to do it. And, they're winding up noticing that they're getting like taken out by other, if you miss these shots and you're small, you got somebody to rebound the ball, that's it. Like, the other team is capitalizing on that. And that's why I think it's trending that way. I think teams are going to start looking to change their rosters, but it doesn't have to happen right away because the whole NBA is already playing small. Like, a lot of teams are playing small. There's only a few like Denver and other teams that are playing big. But so it's not like a FIBA thing. If the NBA was playing in FIBA like regularly, then there'd be some issues because them guys is big over there, So I think we're okay. But go ahead, Alan. What were you going to say?
Well, what I'm talking about is normally what happens is whoever is the NBA champion, they set the format. Teams start saying, okay, what did they do right? What got them over? And Denver, man, come on, 7 foot, 6'10", 6'10". That's their front line. So what did LA go out and do? They signed Wood. I mean, LA can put out LeBron, Wood, Davis. I mean, that's huge. Huge.
That is true.
And you look at some of the MVPs, what's the last 3 MVPs, who were they? Embiid, Jokic, and Giannis.
Yeah.
All big men. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And get back to the good point that you made about Golden State, Steph Curry's not a midget. He's 6'3", Thompson 6'6", Green is 6'8", Wiggins is 6'8". Their center, okay, 6'9", 6'10", Looney, but they're not a small team. Look at the Thunder. I mean, that's a team.
Well, no. Well, actually, no. And technically, they are a small team, Alan.
Who's that?
Because Golden State.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? I don't know if they've changed it, but right before the offseason, and because people are making a big deal about it because they're starting to see what's happening. Because Denver won. They had chronicled Golden State's roster. And at that time, Looney is actually listed as 6'9". They got nobody bigger than 6'9" on the whole team.
You guys see what the Jazz are doing, though? They got Walker Kessler. They have Lauri Markkanen. They drafted that Taylor Hendricks. They got John Collins. They have so many pickups. Yeah,
they're going the opposite way. And I wonder if, because of the fact that, if you guys remember, Lauri Markkanen is over there, right? But we questioned this. Was it 2 years ago? Man, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe. When Atlanta got Markkanen, and I forgot everybody they put together, but they had Markkanen, they had Collins. I was like, they had like 5 big men. I'm like, what are they doing? This is kind of
yeah.
Oh no, it was the Cavs. I'm sorry, the Cavs. I meant to say the Cavs. Yeah.
Yeah, I got
they had like 5 or 6 big men. I think it was 5. And I was like, wow, why are they stacking up on all these big players? But then in the end, it turned out to be not too bad for them because they were able to trade off bigs and still keep bigs. And then I wonder if Utah is saying, because they got Markkanen, they're like, you know what, that kind of worked for them and it gave them some flexibility. Maybe we should adopt that too, because having Markkanen and having Kessler, they're definitely two really, I think they can be really good bigs for them, as well as whoever else they might be adding. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Well, we'll see where it goes because I think like I said, the everything's going to change as far as the NBA, how it works because of personnel. You got the personnel, you continue to do this, but this is a thing that's going to go around the league, and you're going to see more and more of it. I mean, the Knicks have already seen it. You guys already know the Knicks cannot adopt that 3-point style of basketball. They just don't have enough shooters. They have to shoot threes, but they can't play like these other teams. They just don't got it. And so they would be wise to add some bigs to continue to do what they do. And now that I'm seeing USA and how they play and Jalen Brunson and all this stuff, I'm realizing it's a really big strength for the Knicks to be able to rebound because they're not great shooters. So them second chance opportunities helps the Knicks out a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Mitchell helped out our offense a little bit in the playoffs with the offensive rebounds. We talk about, obviously, he's a poor free throw shooter, doesn't have much touch, doesn't have a hook shot, but he actually saved us, especially when it came to Game 5 against Cleveland. What do you have, 14, 15? He was just killing Evan Mobley and Jared Allen in the paint.
Yep.
So I think we should appreciate Mitch on that part. Obviously, we want to see him add a hook shot. I'm not asking for him to add a jump shot because I don't feel like he shows the consistent touch from the free throw line. But yeah, that's a great point there. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's like you notice it more, and we'll probably elaborate a little bit more when we get into the Jalen Brunson stuff because that's a whole nother question that seems to be popping up. But we'll wait till we get there. But yeah, I just think that and it's a smart thing. As Knick fans, we are. I don't want to say we're spoiled because we're not used to winning per se, but we're spoiled in the way that we think that we should be winning, right? And we don't sometimes understand how difficult it is to win in the NBA. It seems easy because there's teams that win games all the time. Like Orlando has our number sometimes, but to win consistently in the NBA is not easy. You have to understand your team. And I'm really starting, even though I still say this to this day, I still think that Thibodeau is not the guy to get us to the promised land. He's the guy right now, and I appreciate him. But I will say I feel like he understands this team very well. And I think he says, you know what? I need defensive players. I need guys that can carry out what I'm trying to do, but I need bigs and guards that can rebound because we're not a good shooting team. And I think Thibodeau understood that. And I think the front office understood that. So as much as we want to be mad at what they're doing or not doing, I got to give them credit because I'm more and more I'm thinking about these Knicks and watching our players. I'm like, yeah, we're not the greatest shooting team. And if we don't get these rebounds, we're in trouble. But we do a really good job of rebounding. We're one of the top teams in the league at rebounding. So I think it makes sense. I think I see what they're trying to do.
Yeah. It also helps their offense that Brunson, some people were asking, should Brunson take more threes because he was efficient from three this past season. We know he relies a lot on the mid-range, but Brunson being obviously a very efficient offensive scorer helps out our offense as well. But that's the thing. Our team's kind of constructed weird. We have Brunson that's an amazing isolation scorer, very efficient. But then you have Randall and RJ that are kind of similar. Obviously, RJ doesn't have the bag of Brunson, but they both like to have the ball in their hands, Randall and RJ. So it's can they work together? Because they're both not very efficient. Brunson's the only efficient one. So maybe you need two very good isolation scorers, and then you need complementary pieces that could play without the ball. So long term, I kind of do question the fit of those three together.
And I
makes
agree.
sense.
One of the things that I'd like to see, and I think would help Brunson's game out tremendously, if Randall and Barrett would stop coming to the top of the key every single time. I mean, you got to give Brunson move to operate. Brunson crosses the half court line. As soon as he gets to the top of the key, here comes Randall or here comes RJ. There's not movement. That kind of stifles Brunson's game, a little bit. And I think he could be a lot better if it opened it up, more pick and roll with Mitch. I don't see a problem. Mitch, to me, has decent hands in the pick and roll. I mean, there's plenty of alley-oop dunks. I mean, you need to go to that more. You got to play to his strengths. Like you were saying, Mitch doesn't have a jump shot. He doesn't have a sky hook. But it's about utilizing your player's strengths. You know what I mean? Using what they are good at. Mitch is great at pick and roll. He is great at alley oops, and use that more.
Right.
Just not Okay, and I don't know if you agree, Ron, but to me, when Mitchell is involved offensively, it just ups his. It just he becomes a demon on defense, man. He just goes after everything. He just gets motivated. Now he said it a few times, that hey, I get motivated, and it's obvious when you watch the games where he's getting those alley oops and stuff. I mean, on defensive end, he's everywhere, and I think he needs to get a lot of credit for that Cleveland playoff victory. I know Brunson was a man, but man, Mitch was the man that series.
100%, 100%. I agree with you. And yeah, I mean, I definitely think, especially a guy like Mitch, I joke about it all the time because I'm sick of it. Like, I don't need to see, and thankfully, I don't think I saw a lot of it so far this year. I don't need to see Mitch shooting threes from half court or shooting around and doing all types of stuff, doing crossovers, putting it behind his back, spinning around, and then stepping. I don't need to see any of that because I'm never going to see it in the game. So I'm like, thank you, Mitch, for not showing me that this year, right? But you can tell, obviously, he wants to be a bigger part of the offense. He wants to have fun. He's a basketball player. He likes basketball. He wants to be more than just a defensive guy. He's a little bit of a walking contradiction, though, because of the fact that not only does he want to do a little stuff on offense, he wants to be the best defender in the league, right? And he said he wanted to be first team all defense and eventually the defensive player of the league. But I always say, look, if you want to do something, by all means, put it in your mind, focus on that and do it. But he's got to show that, okay, I know I'm not getting the offense, and yes, I want to be a part of that, but let me lock down and really become the guy I say I want to be on. He hasn't even made a third team all defense. There's 3 teams. He hasn't made one of them. And you want to be the best defensive player in the league? Like, Mitch has to show me that, okay, I know I'm not getting this, but this is what I am good at, and this is what I want to do. So how do I take my defensive game to the next level? How do I become, that dude that I hate in freaking I don't even know, Minnesota? The hell is his name?
Oh, Rudy Gobert.
Rudy.
Yes, that's right. How do I become that guy, even though I can't stand him? But yeah, you know what I mean? How do I take my game to that level? That's what I want to see from him, and hopefully we'll see more of it. But I will say this is what I'm hoping for. The Knicks are in a system that's been going for the past few years. We had a pretty good team last year, and they added Josh Hart, which is a good fit, and he's the hustle player that Thibodeau needs, and he helps us clean up stuff down the stretch of games. Listen, I give a lot of credit to Jalen Brunson, but also Josh Hart is a part of that too. There's a reason why I've noticed that in fourth quarters we're able to close teams out. The year before that we had 6 leads of 20 or more going into the second half, and we blew those games. We haven't been doing that lately. Last year they were doing much better at closing out games, and when they were down, instead of the Knicks faltering, shooting all types of crazy threes and doing all this nut stuff and losing opportunities to get back in the game, we had Jalen Brunson, who was a stabilizer, coming in, hitting a big basket, he's smart. So these are the different things that we need to be a good contending team, and we're starting to see that. So I think because Tibbs has that now, maybe, to your point, Alan, what you were talking about, and Noah, what you're saying, maybe they start to open up the offense just a little bit more. Maybe we can try a couple more things. We can't stretch the floor as well because we're still not the greatest shooter, but hopefully DiVincenzo can help with that a little bit. But yeah, maybe they can be a little bit more exotic, some back cuts, some screens, some curls. Let's do something. Let's use our big man. I saw that Hartenstein is working on his 3-point shot. If he is, he is. But listen, if he can start knocking down a couple more, then because we didn't see any of that last year. We thought he was going to come in and shoot well. He didn't. But if he can start adding that to his game, really, that might benefit us. We'll see.
Noah, I was looking at Noah's face when you was talking about Brunson now having the ball in the fourth quarter, because when Randall had it, man, it was just disastrous, brother. It was just, no, am I right? I cringed at the fact because it was just, everybody knew what was going to happen. So all they had to do was double Randall, triple him, get the ball out of his hand, and we were dead. And having Brunson, as you mentioned, Ron, that's a big, because he gives us that confidence, got confident player and that steadiness, you know what I mean? And Noah was laughing when you're saying, about Brunson having the ball. And I agree, man. That just made the biggest difference in the world with him having the ball in the fourth quarter, having Hart in the quarter. These guys, they're just playing steady, And, I don't know. How many times did we see Barrett or somebody like that throw the ball away in a crucial point, in the fourth quarter, a big turnover or something, can't inbound the ball. That's really bad,
It's very true. Very true. Yeah, I think that, it's going to be interesting to see what they do this year, because I just feel like whenever you got another year of comfortability, it allows you to be much better at what you're already doing, and also to experiment a little bit with some new wrinkles and twists. It's the same thing that I expect with my New York Giants tomorrow. Daniel Jones and another system, another year of the system with Brian Dable and Kafka. I can't wait. Let's go.
We're gonna win.
Yeah.
Let's go, Noah.
We don't want to turn it to New York Giants podcast, but man, I'm with you, brother. I'm so excited. It's just our offensive weapons, man. We got so many weapons to help young Daniel out. So I think that's going to help. Question for you. Why is Jericho Sims not being considered as being given those backup power forward minutes? Obi left. I mean, remember last year Obi was hurt. He filled in, man. He gave us, what we needed. He gave us boards, some toughness down low. I mean, I think that would be a better move than moving Hart to power forward. What do you think?
I don't love Sims. He sets good screens. He's obviously very athletic. I feel he's a potential shot blocker, because the one thing with him, he's kind of undisciplined. One of the reasons he was selected so late, he can get very jumpy around the rim. Maybe Tibbs doesn't have patience with him, but I wouldn't mind it. I don't know if Tibbs would be okay with him having kind of a big role. But I do think we need size. I'm right there with you, and I believe he brings versatility. There was times he was defending the perimeter, and he's still somewhat young because he played 4 years of college basketball. But I wouldn't mind seeing more Sims, honestly.
One game he played against Atlanta. That was the year we still had we had Mitch, and then what was the other guy, the tall guy, Mr. Hurt.
Oh, Nerlens Noel.
We had Noel, and Collins and Capella were just killing us. I mean, just dogging us out. And because Mitchell was hurt and Nerlens was starting, they had to bring in Jericho. And Jericho just completely dismantled Collins and Spada. I mean, he was just dunking on him, rebounding on him. I just think he has potential. And he does need, to have a little more confidence. And he's a little bit wild, jumpy, he's a head fake away from a foul, you know what I mean? Because he's a jumper. But I mean, if you can develop those skills, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you have the physical attributes, you can develop those skills, and that's one of the things I think we lack is just development, getting the most out of our players. So, I don't want to get into the Obi Toppin thing. He's gone. But that's a perfect case of not developing, not playing to your players' strength, utilizing to their strength.
Right.
I'm kind of glad he's gone, man, because last year I got tired of screaming at the television, get out of the 3-point line, get in the paint. I mean, it was just a fact. He would just run up and down the court, and run from one corner to the other corner, and it's like, come on, man. But, he's gone. But I would like to see us utilize our players' strengths more. And don't devalue our talent, man. Fournier should have been traded last preseason when he broke our 3-point record. That's when it was hot time to trade Fournier. But what happened? Tibbs named him a starter, and he went from starter to no play. And these are things that we have to be on the same page, man. We can't just afford to give away players and devalue players. Hart, for his greatness, we gave up essentially 3 picks for him, 3 number ones. Remember, we traded Knox, who was a lotto pick. We traded a number 1 for Reddish, and then we had to add a number 1 with Reddish to get Hart. It's not good, smart management, And a lot of us, I remember when we were on D's World of Hoops, we were discussing. I mean, it was a time Cam last year, we were talking whether we were going to extend him. You know, was he going to get the bag or not? Because he was playing so well. You know, I mean, communicate. Tibbs, Rose, communicate. You know, and say, okay, we're gonna play this guy until we can get our value for him. You know, we're not just gonna bench him, and you know nobody's gonna give you something for your garbage.
Right. 100%. That is the biggest point you made. That is no doubt about it. Because we always think every fan thinks they can give away their players and get something great back. Not everybody wants the bad stuff that you're trying to get rid of.
No.
So yeah, I agree with that. Let me respond to that and give people a shout out in the chat real quick. Shout out to my guy Drip Moore, the preferred barber of still Knick fans and the Knicks community. Let's go. What's going on, Drip Moore? Appreciate you. I think I already said shout out to you, but maybe not. Keith Turner in the building. Salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you. Knicks are nice in the building. He said, "What up, Noah?" Salute, Pudge. Ron Sarmiento is in the building. Listen, man, nothing better than having a nice grilled cheese sandwich with some of that Sarmiento cheese. You know what I mean? Ron, what's going on? HP Carlos is in the building. He doesn't really make cheese, guys, but I just think it sounds like a name of a cheese make. You know, whatever. All right. HP Carlos in the building. Salute. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for being here. Jay from PR is in the building. Well, that's a whole nother. You know, I'm gonna star that. We'll come back to that. I may have to answer that one later. Corey Lee is in the building. Salute, my brother. Appreciate you as always. I hope you had a great time on your birthday last week and enjoyed yourself. Bricks Nation is in the building. Salute. That's a good point. Knicks won today is in the building. Salute, my guy. What's going on? Appreciate you. I think I got all of these peoples. Hey, my Jigga Man Portal dude. Look at this guy. How you doing? What's happening, Jigga Man? Shout out to you. Shout out to my guy Hector, who had a birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Hector, once again. Shout out to my guy Phil and the whole Morning Brew Sports crew. Guys, once again, please salute and support and show love. You know, subscribe, all that good stuff to the Morning Brew Sports. They have a network going on over there. They're covering everything that you could think of. So if there's something you like and, it's not the Knicks or it's not they're covering everything except the Brooklyn Nets. They will not touch that, and I'm not mad at them. So, and also, listen, Noah's here too. So support and show love to Noah's channel as well. He's got a lot going on. He's also a student, so he's got to deal with the real stuff. But, when he's back and forth, show him some love on his show as well and subscribe if you haven't already.
Thank you.
No problem. Keyshawn is in the building. What's good, Keyshawn? Appreciate you. All right. So, Jericho Sims. I think personally the problem with Jericho is I hate to say it. Could the Knicks have drafted another guy with a low motor? Golly, how do we keep doing this? But Jericho Sims' motor is not crazy, guys. And, imagine if, who is this guy that I love? I can't remember his name. He used to play with the Denver Nuggets. Oh, he had braids.
And it's Fareed.
Fareed.
Damn it, Noah. This is why I'm talking about, man. Manimal. If Jericho Sims had Kenneth Fareed's motor, oh my goodness. You cannot imagine the amount of havoc he could cause. Because Kenneth Fareed wasn't the most skillful player, but his motor took him far in the time. Like, he was very productive in that spell of time that he was, you know what I mean? I mean, of course, now things have changed. He's a little older, and I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. But
no.
But Jericho doesn't have that type of motor that gives. I know he's an introvert and all that stuff, but you know what I mean? You're playing in the NBA, you got to figure out what works for you. And I think that some of these guys, instead of trying to be more versatile, because we get mad at the fact that some of these guys aren't versatile. They can't shoot. Like Mitchell can't shoot. Jericho can't shoot. I get it. Even Hartenstein, to a point, you say he maybe can't shoot. Maybe he can improve on it. But right now, we're going to say he can't shoot.
Yeah.
Jericho should just accept that. Listen, I can't shoot, but you know what I can do? I can jump out the gym. You know, I'm not a bad. He's not a bad rebounder, guys. What he has a problem with, and goes to Noah's point, he's very jumpy, right? And timing wise, he's not good. This is the reason why a guy who can jump out the gym, who can touch the top of the backboard, is not a good shot blocker. Make it make sense, because his timing is off. He anticipates poorly. So if he can really hone that, he should be working with a defensive guru every offseason and getting that stuff together, getting his timing right. If he can get that together, let me tell you something. Jericho Sims would make a huge impact for not only the Knicks, but even if he gets moved to any team, because he'll be good at one. He can rebound and he could block shots consistently. That's a big help to any team, because you can't look. I don't care, even over the years, if he loses some of that bounce, he still will have the bounce that equal most NBA players, because his bounce is incredible. So it makes no sense that he shouldn't really focus on that. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, Noah? Because I think he really could become a good shot blocker if he just worked on his timing, his anticipation. It's just the same thing you use for rebounding. You have to anticipate sometimes to be a good rebounder.
Yeah, I don't know if the Knicks look at him in the long-term plans to have the patience to develop him. If we didn't have,
I don't think so either.
We didn't have Harden potentially, but when I'm thinking about this athleticism, it made me think of another thing. You know, when Obi was on the team, it gave us an excuse to run a little bit. Are we going to run it even we didn't run a lot last season, but do you think we're going to run at all this upcoming season? Do you think we're going to be a slow-paced team?
Yeah, I mean, losing Obi does hurt with that, especially when you find out, because I didn't even know that, but I've talked about it on the show, that Obi's like top 3 in transition. I can't get the term. It was something like fast break or transition basketball. The top 3 guys are on the same team right now. It's Halliburton, it's Bruce Brown, and Obi Toppin. So we had one of those guys, and now not having that is huge, because we're not even a team that is high paced. We don't push the pace that well. But getting Josh Hart over here is nice, because he can have somebody to throw the ball to. But now Obi's not here, so I don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, here's my thing. Okay, going to pace. Okay, we just don't run, man. We just don't run. I think we play better when we're fast paced, when we're getting up and down the court, because other teams, they can't set up on us. We catch teams by surprise, and I mean, even Randall, man, he can get up and down the court when he wants to. You know what I mean? And I just think it all boils down to tips. Even getting back to Jericho, man, somebody should be working with Jericho. But like you said, Ryan and Noah, I just don't think, okay, you act like you really don't have no use for him. And this goes back to my point of devaluing. Just because, he doesn't fit in your plans, that don't mean he's garbage. That don't mean you don't develop and trade him, get something for him. Instead of just letting them go slowly, and then disappear. I mean, the guy has talent. You know what I mean? And you can either take advantage and nurture that talent and get the most out of him, or you can just let him go, like we've done to Fournier, like we did to Reddish. Just let him go. And we can't afford to do that. I just don't think we have to do that. I don't know how you fellas feel, but, when I hear about our boatload of draft picks and, the advantage we have, come on, fellas. How many of those draft picks are not top 10 protected?
Yeah.
What is really the value? The most valuable ones are ours, and they're no good unless we stink, and we don't want to stink.
Fair.
I mean, so, I just feel that we wait too long and we depend too long. And I thought when Rose took over and said that we need to develop our own stars, that we finally were going to take that step and develop our own stars instead of star chasing. We're waiting for Embiid. We're waiting for Giannis. It's like a guy sweating some other man's girl. You know what I mean? That's what we're doing. We need to develop our stars. Hey, it's no coincidence that our 2 championship teams, which I hate to say I was around for, the Knicks, okay, homegrown, bro. Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, Bill Bradley, homegrown. And even when we traded for the Pearl, guess what was allowed us to trade for the Pearl? our homegrown stars, Stallworth, Reardon, Bellamy. We traded him for DeBusschere. You know what I mean? It's no coincidence that it's homegrown. I mean, look at Denver. Murray, homegrown. Jokic, homegrown. They drafted Porter. And what they did, they made a shrewd trade and got my man Gordon over there, and boom. And I think that should be the way that we do business instead of just, hoping for that big splash, because it's going to cost, bro. We get Embiid, we're going to have to offload half our team.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't want to, I know maybe Noah was about to say something, but I agree with you. I think that is a way that every team should kind of do things, but especially the Knicks, and the Knicks especially because of the fact that there's so much things that are attached to being a Knick player in New York, and the media, the scrutiny, and not everybody can handle it, which we've seen. I mean, it's not even just the Knicks; it's players in general who come to New York for any sport, right? But the problem is that if you're gonna do it that way, you have to have good talent evaluators. You have to be in a position to draft the best possible talent.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a number one pick, because we can see there's lower echelon, as far as picks go, guys that were there, Donovan Mitchell, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, guys got picked lower and they have become stars in the league. You just have to be able to hit on those guys. And the only problem I have with that style of thinking is that the Knicks haven't hit on that guy. I could say right now that Murray from Denver is probably just as good as any other player we got on the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
But Jokic is better than everybody. That's a whole, that's hitting. You know what I mean? But Murray is he's comparable to anybody. I can't say he's better. I mean, I can't say that Brunson's better than him or not. They have their games. And if Murray's healthy, he's a beast, right? And same thing, Julius Randle had an incredible season, but if a healthy Murray doing what he does stacks up equally with Julius Randle, they you know what I mean? So Denver has the benefit of having two key cogs and one that's extraordinary in Jokic. If the Knicks had that guy, if the Knicks were able to at least get the one, because you could say, and as much as we want to say Jalen Brunson is the man here, as far as the most gifted, most talented guy, it's still Julius Randle. He can do so many different things. He just has a certain ceiling, right? If he was more than that, then I could say, yeah, we're in that spot. We just need to build around Julius and put these pieces. Jalen is the first real good piece. Then we can get one more piece, and the trifecta might be enough. But we don't have that. We're juggling a little bit. But I agree with you, Alan. I think that's the way that I would love the Knicks to go, because I hate depending on other team stars. They don't want to come here, and yet we're always chasing them. I mean, it gets me frustrated. Every time we're getting thrown into the mix.
And you mentioned Denver, right? How did Denver get Murray? How did Denver get Jokic?
Carmelo.
They developed him and they drafted him. Is that
but Noah's right. The Carmelo trade opened that up, gave them the picks.
A pick
to
That's crazy. But Jokic, obviously,
wasn't Jokic the second round or late first round?
Yeah, second round.
Oh yeah. They just hit on him. But like I said, that goes back to it don't matter where the pick is. Sometimes you have to be able to evaluate the talent and hit. And the Knicks haven't shown that they can hit on a star player yet. The only star player that we know the Knicks have hit on was the no-brainer, which was Patrick Ewing, and that was the first pick.
I mean, Stevie Wonder would have made that pick.
Go ahead, Noah. What were you gonna say?
But yeah, you can't take Frank Ntilikina, who's on the Hornets now. Kevin Knox is even in the league right now. The Kevin Knox draft pisses me off. I know hindsight and all of that, but Mikal Bridges was even the safe player there. I understood when Michael Porter Jr. is back, but Shea was in that draft. We could have just drafted anyone else, but I do understand what they were looking at. Back then, they were looking for the high upside guy, but they didn't evaluate right. Knox had no motor whatsoever, but I don't even want to get into that. I felt like
right. I mean, we pass on Bridges. I mean, like Ron said, it's who's picking, and I thought this is why we imported that draft guru from Utah. I thought he was, but hey, man. We haven't made a number one pick in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. But you know, and
I think you have to find a even balance and supplement because, hey, man, with these payrolls and the salary cap and these things going on, you got to have some type of balance in between developing your own players and bringing players in to supplement, to complement. Yeah, we
right.
lucked out. We got Jalen Brunson. You know, he wasn't our draft pick, but, you know, we need to keep him, and now we need to build around him. You know, put players around him to support him, especially defensive players, because, hey, we know Jalen, it's not for lack of effort, man. The guy draws offensive fouls. So, you know, this is something I like to see Julius do. I mean, I think Julius, I forget some crazy stat where he had maybe one whole charge that he drew the whole season or something like that. They have some stats that they post on, you know, drawing offensive fouls and contesting shots and deflecting, and they're in a low echelon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have the like
having a guy like Brunson. I mean, you got to build around him.
And you know, really, when you would to your point, Alan, you know, a guy who really should have benefited from that type of you know, drawing fouls and getting to the line, but he's got to knock down his free throws, is RJ Barrett. He's a guy who really, I mean, if you like to muscle your way into the paint, always, like, I think he muscles his way into the paint way more than Julius Randle, even though they have similar styles of game when it comes to that. RJ likes to get into that paint, and he is not the James Harden that I thought he would be. Not the rest of the game, but I thought he was going to be like James Harden coming out of the league as far as drawing fouls and getting to the line, but he hasn't shown to be that guy.
Yeah,
go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, RJ's not like Brunson. Like, he's not methodical going to the basket. Like, Brunson, you could tell he, like, reads the defense, and he's like, I'm going to go this angle. I'm going to put up a floater. I feel like RJ just tries to. Like, I appreciate how, like, hard he plays, like, going to the basket, but sometimes I feel like he's just trying to force it at the rim.
Yeah, bully ball.
Yeah, he needs to play poised at times and more under control. That's how I like him playing. But right now, he's a slasher at this point of his career. With the third overall pick, who's known as his consolation prize, I think just some Knicks fans need to lower the expectations. I think he's a very quality player. Do I think he's going to be the face of the franchise like some people think? No, because I did a video on this. He was one of the worst, like, off the dribble jump shooters last year. Obviously, he doesn't get that opportunity a lot, but we've seen him run with the second unit. He does have an opportunity to score, but I feel like he doesn't get a lot of lift on his jumper. A lot of people say, like, oh, we should play like Jimmy Butler, because I want him to be more versatile too, be a three-level score from mid-range, because he's not a great three-point shooter. Jimmy isn't either, but Jimmy's able to create a lot of separation off the bounce. He's a quicker release, and I feel like RJ doesn't have that, so I want him to be, like, the best finisher he can be. I don't want him to try to be something he isn't personally. I just don't think he's that guy, but I think he's a very, very quality player. That's just my opinion on RJ.
And I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
One thing that I would like RJ to do is stay in his lane. What I mean, like that, play to your strengths, man. Like you said, that's his strength, man. Get into the rim. It's like almost he can get to the rim whenever he wants to. But I think if he incorporated like a short pull-up, you know, instead of going all the way to the rim, pull up sometimes. Now you keep the defense guessing. You know what I mean? Because sometimes he tries to get in there, he doesn't have the lift, and, you know, he gets blocked or whatever. And then sometimes when, you know, he gets the lane, he can finish pretty strong, you know. But I think RJ takes a whooping by Knicks fans. And like, no, you big point. He is what he is, bro. He's not, but it's not too many complete players in the NBA today, you know, that can do everything. You know, I think RJ is a good player. And the one thing I give him credit for, good game, bad game, super game, he's accessible, man. He's there. He doesn't hide. He doesn't hide from the press. He doesn't hide from, you know, taking credit or not taking credit for the win or the loss. I mean, RJ is there, you know. He doesn't shy away, and he likes New York, you know. So, you know, we should give him credit, like, for that. You know what I'm saying? It's no perfect players. And I look at his stats, okay, they say, well, last year, you know, the year before he scored 20 points. Last year, his point average went down. Hello, we brought Jalen Brunson, a shoot-first point guard, okay? Who did Brunson replace at point guard? shot attempts. Brunson is a shoot first point guard, as he should be. So that's going to take away from RJ's average. So give him credit. He still stayed up there where he averaged 19 points a game. He had a slow first half, but I think he's a quality player. He's not a player that's garbage, and sometimes he takes a whooping on a lot of these podcasts where, man, RJ stinks, RJ this, RJ that. Let's look at what he can do. He's a quality piece.
Yeah, I agree with that. So let me just answer this, and let me shout out the chat real quick, and then me answer this, and then we'll move on to the next topic. First off, shout out to the chat once again. Appreciate you guys. Smash that like button, man. Show your love for the show. I said I was going to be a little bit more diligent about this because we get complacent. We watch the show and we're like, oh yeah, I get caught up myself sometimes. I'm like, yeah, why am I not hitting the like button? I like the show. So smash that like button, please, and show your love, because YouTube needs to know that we are here rocking and keep plugging us up in the algorithm so people can find the show better. But shout out to Danny Landis in the building. Salute, my guy. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Jersey Shore. Let me start this comment. I'm gonna come right back to it. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for being here. Who else we got here that might have just joined? The Knicks realist is in the building. Salute. Appreciate you. Coach Sire is in the building. Salute. Appreciate you. My guy Sherwin is in the building. Thank you for being here and showing love to the show. Hey, what's up, Marlon? Marlon Khan is in the building, folks. Happy Saturday to you as well. Sha Powers is in the building. Guys, if you haven't already, please support Sha Powers and my guy Divine, man. Knicks Real Talk. Support their show. Show them some love. Go over there and check out some real good Knick fans, man. Talking that talk. Positive at that. Okay, I think I got all the other people earlier. But if I missed you, I apologize. It's not for any reason, but I just missed it. But back to Jersey Shore. First off, Jersey Shore, Noah don't have to inform me about anything. And keep in mind that, remember what I said? I said he's a good rebounder, but he's a terrible shot blocker. And he really is. I don't care. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's a reason why he was picked 51st or 52nd overall. He's not a good shot blocker. If you look at his college numbers, a guy who can jump out the gym, just look at it. He averaged a little less than 1 block per game, or maybe right at 1 block per game. I mean, in contrast, Walker Kessler averaged like 5 blocks a game, which is ridiculous in college.
Yeah.
But he's a really good shot blocker. His timing is fantastic. I never said that Jericho Sims is a bad defender. Never heard me mention it. I never said that he gets killed on defense. So him having to be able to keep a guy in front of him, it's fine with me. I don't have an issue with that. It's about his timing and affecting guys' shots, because he's 6'9". He's not a great offensive player. So what else can he do out there? He can get rebounds and block shots. So that's all I can expect from him right now. And believe me, that's enough. And if he did that consistently, Thibodeau would show him more love. I'm 100% believe that Thibodeau would show him more love, but it's the fact that he doesn't do that consistently, and Thibodeau gets mad that sometimes he gets lost out there in the sets. Sometimes they run a set and he doesn't know where to be. And it's after, in the beginning, you could say, okay, he's still learning, but it's a couple years now. Now you're supposed to know this stuff, and you're supposed to also be able to anticipate, okay, this happened, let me do this. And I don't know how vocal he is. One thing I'll say is, like, a lot of Knick players aren't that vocal when it comes to defense. Josh Hart is. I've seen Mitch start to become more vocal going, but I don't know about Jericho. And I'm going to pay attention to that this year to see if he's vocal when he's out there in the defense. Does he say anything to his team? Does he say, get my help? Or does he say anything when I see him pointing? This is important, especially for a big man in the league, So we'll see. We'll see. Just saying. Okay. All right. So let's get to the next topic. And I hope we don't spend a lot of time on this, because I can't stand this guy. James Harden could have been a Knick, folks. Oh my God!
You want me to leave? Want me to leave this? I might leave. This might be my player. I'm not even joking.
Dude, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it is a topic. So let's just say, okay, how do you guys feel? And I just need to hear your opinion on it. How do you guys feel about the realism that the Knicks actually had a conversation in reference to James Harden? Because I thought at the time when the whole James Harden rumors were circulating, I thought, yeah, the Knicks were interested to be a part of the trade. But to be a part of the trade, not to get James Harden back. Like if you're working with the Clippers, yeah, we'll take somebody from the Clippers, whoever you're working with. I don't want James Harden on the team, though. So, I mean, how do you feel? Let me start with Noah, just so he can get the taste out of his mouth.
Yeah, let me talk
Noah.
Quick. I don't know what percent I am on my phone. All right, so Harden's obviously, he led the league in assists last year. He's a great facilitator. Not taking that away, and that might hurt the Sixers a little because obviously they're looking to trade him. So even though he doesn't step up in the big moments, that's the big thing with him. I think he lacks heart. I don't understand that Celtics series at all. The Sixers, they could have won that in 6, but they didn't take care of business. Obviously, Tatum struggled that entire first half and then went off in the second half. I don't know how Harden has like 2 40-point games and then has like 11 points on terrible efficiency in Game 7. I honestly think he lacks heart. And what is this, like the 3rd team in a row now? He's like asking out. Like, I really don't understand Harden. I don't think he'd be good for the locker room. And Harden would have the ball in his hands more than a Jalen Brunson. And I wouldn't be okay with that because I'd rather have someone with the ball in their hands that I know is going to give it their all every single possession. There were some plays that a screen's being set for Harden, and in the past games in the series, he would put up a floater, but it just looked like he was just like walking around. He just looks really lazy, and it just looks like he doesn't want it. And I don't respect that. He's obviously one of the best scorers ever, but I don't think he's someone that's ever going to win a championship because he doesn't accept a role and he doesn't sacrifice. And I just thought he crapped his pants in Game 7. That's my opinion.
I could agree with that. That's funny. Coach Cyrus says, I think Harden bets against himself in the playoffs for money. That's funny. Anyway, yeah, man. Hey, Alan. And those of you who just joined the show, we got Noah Cahill here. Please support him and his show on YouTube. Obviously he's been doing it for a minute. Great friend of the show, and we enjoy chopping it up with him whenever we can. And also shout out to Double A Alan Alford up in the building on the live. Let's go, Alan. What's your thoughts on Mr. James Harden? Would you even want him on the Knicks?
I thought we wanted Embiid.
Oh, we do want Embiid, but yeah.
Our thing is not to help Philadelphia. You see what I'm saying? If we trade for Harden, problem solved. They keep Embiid. So our thing is to help Philadelphia. And besides that, Brunson needs the ball. And who would you rather have, Brunson or Harden running the Knicks? I'd rather have Brunson. For points Noah brought up, he's not a team player. He distanced himself. I think he has a prima donna attitude. You know what I mean? I heard that sometimes he doesn't even fly with the team, whatever. But I just think that he just doesn't fit on the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? We have RJ, we have Randall, we have Brunson. These guys need the ball. Naturally, one of them would have to go. But to tell you the truth, I wouldn't trade RJ or Randall for Harden. I think both of them actually fit better on the Knicks than Harden would. And that's saying something, because I would like to upgrade from either one of them. But, what it is what it is. But no.
Is that your new name?
Yeah, it's me.
I'm like, oh, yeah, you did send me the message. I'm like, yeah, shout out to Knicks Realist in the chat.
I changed my name because initially when I started my channel, it was just basketball. But I'm like, I need to attract more Knicks fans to my channel. So I was like, why not?
That's dope. All right. Well, thank you for being here in the chat, Noah, and thank you for being on the show.
It's so funny. You're like, what's up? And I didn't say anything.
All right, that's dope. All right, well, good to know. Okay, guys, so listen, Knicks Realist is Noah, so support. And look, if you look at the picture, it looks like I was like, damn, Noah's that big. He got a stand that loves him that much to put it. I was like, this is hilarious. Oh man, that's dope. Yeah, so okay, I mean that's it, guys. Listen, James Harden is what it is. I don't want him on the team. If there's defense and then there's James Harden, and you look up defense in a dictionary, James Harden is now nowhere to be found. So I'm good. I'm good with that. Like I don't. James Harden needs to be on a team of 14 all defensive players. He could be the one offensive player, and maybe they got a chance. I don't know. I'm not messing with him. It's too much for me. I'm sick of him. I think he's got a bad attitude. I think he's a clubhouse or a locker room diva. And I honestly think that he doesn't realize this yet. I think it's too woe is me. I think he has too many concessions that they made for him as an NBA player. And I think they created a monster. These teams, they value talent. They think he's the next coming. And so they said, listen, let's do this for him. Let's make him feel comfortable. He can bring us to the next level. And they were wrong because his overall game is not enough to bring you to the next level. He can't do it by himself. He needs help. And then you basically just put a battery in his back to make him feel like he's bigger or better than others around the league that he could use to help him get to that next level. And that's a problem. It's the same thing. I equate it to what San Francisco did. If you guys ever look, this is old. All right, I'm older. Okay, if you guys ever remember Barry Bonds when he went to the San Francisco Giants, they didn't roll out the red carpet. He was like they created a new red carpet for Barry Bonds. They gave this guy everything. They gave him his own section in the locker room with the Barry Bonds. It looked crazy. Like they gave this guy private, like I don't know if it was a private helicopter. They gave him all types of stuff. Now, granted, when he was there, he broke the home run record. He was a monster because he was on his PEDs or whatever. But he did fulfill what they thought he was going to do, and they gave him that. But you know how that isolates the rest of your team? You should have seen when this was happening, because I know I'm older. I remember this stuff. The teammates were flipping. Jeff Kent was on that team. He was like, why are you giving this dude? Who is this guy? I don't care how good he is. He doesn't deserve all of this. What about Jeff Kent? Yeah. You got to love Jeff Kent. Anyway, the point is, like, that type of treatment, it just doesn't make sense to give to a guy who doesn't appreciate it or doesn't respect what he's getting. And I don't think James Harden respects it. The guy does his own thing. He doesn't travel with the team. He goes to nightclubs and stuff while people are in the gym practicing. Like, James Harden is a wild guy. So I have no good stuff to talk about James Harden. He's about to join my list of guys I don't like. I got two of them. It's Kyrie and KD, and Harden's on that list now too. So plus he's lost me a lot of money in FanDuel. But that's besides the point.
And they all played together too. So
right. That that just adds to it.
Feeds you.
I'm sorry. Repeat that again, Alan.
Right in the hand to feed you. That aspect of his personality. I mean, Daryl Morey has been carte blanching James Harden since Houston. I mean, he traded for him to Houston, made him a star, gave him the bag, and then he traded for him again to bring him to Philly. And the guy's just killing him. I mean, I don't know specifics 100%. I don't know if anybody knows exactly what was promised or not promised, but I mean, some type of a guy that has had that relationship with you, it's got to be some kind of loyalty that you can, go one-on-one and say, hey, dude, you promised me this, or you didn't promise me this, or what this before you put it out in public like he did. It just kills it. It's not repairable right now.
Yeah.
So you wonder.
That's true.
So you wonder what Philly's going to do, really. That, training camps are going to open in a couple of weeks. So that's a team that's discombobulated, if there is one.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And the other thing is, even like none of us know the real. We don't know what's true, what's not true. But even with the Daryl Morey stuff, look, I don't know how I can't feel a certain way either way, because Daryl Morey helped create what James Harden is. The expectations and the way that he's a diva out here and does what he does. Daryl, he cultivated that mentality and that behavior, right? And then the flip side of it is, Daryl Morey seems like a monster all of a sudden to James Harden. But guess what? You followed this guy. All right. You knew who he was as a person, or as an owner, or a GM in Houston, and you followed him to Philadelphia. So don't all of a sudden give me this now. Oh, he's the worst person in the league. I would never play for him. He's what? You followed him here. Like, so it's crazy. Whatever. I'm done. All right, let me get him off my screen because he's disgusting me. I can't, guys. Sorry. Get out of here. Thank you. All right. So Shout out to Cam from the Kickback. Appreciate you, bro. Always good to see you. Thank you for being here. Allah Wise is in the building. Salute Allah. He's not a big Harden fan, but he did have 2 40-point games versus Boston. Where was Mr. MVP Embiid then? Yeah, I hear that.
People don't talk about that. I feel like for the last few years, Embiid hasn't gotten to the playoffs healthy, and he didn't step up either. Embiid's obviously like a top 3 center in the league, but he needs to step up as well.
Yes, he does. And salute to my guy G Money. What up, Gideon? Amankwa in the building. Salute, Gideon. Good to see you, bro. I agree. Totally. So let me get to this. Is probably we're gonna get to a little RJ, but this is probably the most controversial topic of today's show. Let me make sure I got it here. There it is. Yes. Yeah. So first off, Team USA gets knocked out, right? And so they all they can do now is play for the bronze medal. And oddly enough, Team Canada gets knocked out. And so guess who's playing each other for the bronze medal, folks? That's right, Team Canada versus Team USA. But I was going back and forth, and my friends don't get it. Sometimes they spur me on and they give me they help put things in my mind. And that was before I even saw what's going on Twitter. Now it's all over Twitter. So I guess everybody's thinking the same way. I was arguing with my friends yesterday because they're not Knick fans.
Okay.
And they were like, listen, what happened with your boy Jalen Brunson, man? How come, blah, blah, blah. What happened? Dennis Schroeder did this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, come on, calm down. But it did bring to the notion up, is Jalen Brunson truly ready for prime time? Can he be the true leader of a team? Can he, get a team to the promised land? Can he be the guy for a team? And I'm not necessarily saying he has to be the guy, but can he be the guy? Because you know what? Team USA and Steve Kerr were pumping Jalen Brunson up heavy, making this guy the spokesperson for the team. He's the difference maker. He's, his level of stability. He helps ground the team and all this stuff. And they were really putting him on a pedestal, which may not have been fair to Jalen, because in my mind, this is my opinion, I don't know how you guys see it. When I saw how Jalen Brunson played for Team USA, to me, I feel like he took a back seat. Okay. I feel like he understood that he's not the only gifted player on this team, and I feel like he was just trying to play his role and help facilitate and do whatever is needed on the team, because Jalen Brunson on Team USA is not the Jalen Brunson I saw on the Knicks. The Knicks Jalen Brunson was super aggressive and knew he had to do whatever he had to do to take over because we didn't have anybody else. But Team USA has a bunch of Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton. We got all these different players on the team that can. Yes, so and I feel like people keep looking at Jalen Brunson like he was exactly what the same player that the Knicks got. And I don't look at it that way. I think he was definitely trying to fit in, play his role, take his spots here. And even in the elimination game, people are talking about the fact that he was benched in the fourth quarter, which, if he's supposed to be the man, how does he get benched in the fourth quarter? In crunch time, he wasn't out there. This is Team USA. There's a bunch of star players or star-like players on this team from other teams. You should be able to bench anybody and put somebody, because that's how you built the team, right? That's the whole point. In my mind, that's why I thought you build a USA team. Now, if you want to point to say, hey, they didn't have enough stars, well, that's their team, their roster construction. They didn't do it well. That's another story. I just think they get a little crazy with this stuff. The other thing go ahead, Noah.
And let's keep in mind how many, I'm not trying to make excuses, but let's keep in mind how many months straight Brunson's playing basketball. He was just in the playoffs, and then he has to prepare for this, gain chemistry with these guys, and then playing these big-time games. And you could say overseas basketball is probably even more physical, and then you have to adjust to these new rules. I'm not trying to make excuses, but he's being asked to do something different. We know Edwards, when he's in Minnesota, he takes 20-plus shots. And then, it's weird when it comes to Team USA. There will be one night Edwards takes 15 shots, and then one night he takes, 8 shots or whatever time they play. I couldn't watch all the games. Sometimes they're playing at 4:30 in the morning. But yeah, they're being asked to play a different brand of basketball. And I don't think of Brunson any differently, to be completely real with you guys. And game 6 drops 40 points. I know we lose, but he played his heart out. He draws charges. No star. I don't. Even though he wasn't named like to an all-star team, he plays his heart out every night in a New York Knicks uniform. That's all I care about, honestly. How he looks in a Knicks uniform. He's playing with totally different personnel. He's being asked to do totally different things. I don't think of Brunson any differently. But when you ask like, is he ready for prime time to like be that guy? I feel like you could be a superstar, but with the way this team is constructed, can even like one of the best players in the world, can Giannis win a championship with RJ and Julius Randle? Because there's still not great floor spacing on this team. I feel like you still need to have a good constructed team. When you have Chris Middleton, when you have Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez that can stretch the floor as well. Giannis is one of the best players in the league, but it's still a team game. You can still be one of the best players, but if your team isn't constructed right, like you still might not win the big thing. We still may go to the Eastern Conference Finals, but you saw with the Bucks, even though Giannis got hurt, they lose in the first round. So anything could happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I agree with that. I think that's fair. The other thing that I wanted to say with regards to this is, and shout out to Sherwin. Sherwin always, he loves to call out when he sees defensive ineptitude, and he's always been a person who says that about Jalen Brunson. And I understand it's fair, but I wasn't expecting, Jalen Brunson is not a good defender. If he wasn't a good defender with Dallas and he wasn't a good defender with the Knicks, how all of a sudden is he going to be a good defender with FIBA and the USA team? He's not a good defender. It is what it is. He can give some effort, but he's 6'1" at that, even if that's true. He's not a good defender. It is what it is. So here's the problem. And this is what I say about all of these players. The Jalen Brunsons, and I'm throwing him in that mix now, the Donovan Mitchells, the Shea Gilgeous-Alexanders. There's a lot of these guys, the Kyrie Irvings. These guys don't play good defense, okay? I don't care what you say. They're offensive players. They don't play good defense. So now you put a guy like Jalen Brunson, who his big attribute is offense, right? Put him on in a situation where he can't really be the offensive player that he is. And then he's still out there and he has to play defense. He's going to look horrible because he can't make up for it. Jalen Brunson's benefit is to be able to create havoc on the offensive end. And if he's not doing that, he's a liability. That's fair. It is what it is. He's not good defensively. But if he's in the situation where he can go out and control his own destiny and do what he's got to do, he will make up for his defensive lapses because he's going to score points or he's going to do some things creatively to help the rest of the team when he has those moments. Look, he shot 4 of 9, and apparently he didn't play in the fourth quarter or not fourth quarter, but down in the crunch time. So that tells me he only got 9 shots up. When's the last time you seen Jalen Brunson get 9 shots up as a Knick? 9 shots, that's it? And he had 15 points. He was like 6 of 6 from the free throw line. He had 7 assists. That's not a horrible game to me on the offensive side. When you only took 9 shots, you got 7 assists, and you had 15 points. Now, you want to say defensively he was atrocious? Maybe he was, and that's why they had to bench him. Look, I get it. But I'm just saying you got to look at it for what it is. There's certain things that you can't account for. Sometimes things happen. Dennis Schroeder has, a battery in his back, but he's playing for his hometown team, and he's doing great over there with them. And not for nothing, don't forget, Dennis Schroeder this is a makeup game for Dennis Schroeder because in the game before, he was the heel. He was horrible, and the whole team was trying to pick him up. Right.
For 23, I'm not even joking.
Exactly. So I would expect Dennis Schroeder to have a good game no matter who's out there because he's got to make up for that. That was ridiculously bad for him. So, yeah, I mean, there's just difference, different things that are happening. I'm not trying to keep making excuses for Jalen Brunson. I'm just telling you there's some real stuff to think about here. What would you think if Donovan Mitchell shot 4 for 9, right, and didn't play in the crunch time and gave you 15.7 assists? Is Donovan Mitchell a bum or something? Does he not show that he has been a star player and can take over games? No, it's just the way the game was constructed. It didn't work out for Brunson in his game. But I go back to the fact that ever since I've only watched maybe 3 or 4 USA games, and when I watch Jalen Brunson out there, I don't see the Jalen Brunson that I saw for the Knicks. He just doesn't seem like he's playing with that type of mentality. My opinion. So let me get around. Let me see, Alan, what's your thoughts on Jalen Brunson?
No, you're 100, Ron. I mean, definitely the aggression that he shows during the season was not there. I mean, he was more of a pass-first guard versus with the Knicks, he's an attack guard, and I give Brunson credit for his effort, man. I mean, how many times he has to pick himself up off the floor trying to draw offensive foul, you know? And no, he's not perfect. Here we go again. And I think the thing that makes it stand out worse is, he's playing with 2 defensive challenge guys in the starting lineup, Randall and RJ. That's a problem, But Brunson was definitely not the Brunson that plays for the New York Knicks. I mean, he wasn't going full throttle. And as far as ready for prime time, he showed me in that Miami series what a man he is, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, one game, I think they were doubtful he was going to play. And he came in, 30? Brunson to me, there's no question in his heart. And for me, if anybody in the Knicks has the ball in the fourth quarter with the game on the line, give me Brunson every time.
Yeah. And in game 5, he had 38 points. He played 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Then game 6, he drops 40. I know everyone's going to get on him. Oh, he should have kicked it out to Josh Hart. Maybe Hart would have made it. Maybe he wouldn't have. But he plays with pure heart. I just don't understand how. Like, I do understand everyone has different opinions, but there's some Knicks fans attacking him for FIBA basketball. And I know it was 1 year, but he did a lot for the Knicks in that 1 year. Like, I feel like some Knicks fans just aren't appreciating him. And could you imagine if Trae Young played for FIBA basketball, the physicality, and Trae Young's a worse defender than Jalen Brunson as well? Because I know there's some people out there like, oh, they should have picked like Trae Young over Jalen Brunson. I think Trae Young would have been worse, and everyone's saying like Trae Young would have dropped this amount of points. Everyone's playing different roles out there, and Kerr made Brunson play a role that isn't his game. Isn't his game, honestly.
And you got to look at it, bro. It's not only not only did it for the Knicks in the playoffs for us, but he did it with Dallas too.
Yeah,
he stepped up. Luka went down. He stepped up. So he showed.
Yeah.
What we see is what we get. And Brunson is a bad boy, and I'm happy he's a New York Knick. Gotta help, man. And I think adding Dante and Hart, that's a step forward. We got some dogs, That's the whole thing. We need dogs, man. And if we get Julius to play, one thing you got to give Randall credit for, man. He comes into camp in shape. I mean, I seen a video of him working out. I mean, the dude is chiseled. He comes in shape. But if he just played that way, because Randall can play defense, he just chooses not to, I think, sometimes. Mm-hmm. But he can. I've seen Randall play good and stay on his man. But Brunson is ready for prime time. He is prime time.
Yeah. I mean, I think he is. I think he is. I just think that he just once again, it's hard. It sucks because it sounds like you're making excuses, but there's real stuff that goes with it. I feel like he didn't go into this Team USA thing playing the same way that he played with the Knicks. I think he understood that there's other guys on this team that are very valuable in the league and can score and can do different things, and they deserve to be given the ball and have their opportunities. I think he approached it that way. I also think Noah has what he said is very true. Brunson hasn't stopped playing. He went to the second round of the playoffs, and not only did he go to the second round of the playoffs, but he was a part of the team. He was carrying this Knick team and playing tons of minutes.
And he had hurt 8 too. Let's not forget about when he injured his ankle too. Like there was some scare about that. So I'm not.
Yeah, I agree.
This coming season, I'm frightened, man. Just Brunson's playing style and Tips tendencies to overplay his players, man. He's got me frightened.
Yeah, and he's like a shorter dude. I understand that though. I do understand that.
He just, that's just one of the knocks I have against Tibbs. I think he's a great coach, great defensive coach, but he just, he overcompensates by overplaying his starters where you should be developing that talent, that backup talent, because you're going to need them, man. Depth, plays a big part in the season. In the playoffs, your guys got to be ready, to step up, and like I said, Brunson's style, man, he just plays with reckless abandon. He's on the floor every time, man. That's an injury waiting to happen, dude. And, I hate to see it because if he goes down, our season is down,
Right.
And I think, Tibbs just got to learn to protect him, man. Let's see what Deuce can do, man, for 10 minutes a game. He can't kill us for 10 minutes. What can he do? He can defend, We know that Deuce can defend. He's got a decent 3-point shot. I mean, I don't think Deuce can kill us for 10 to 12 minutes a game to give Brunson that adequate rest, to have him fresh for the playoffs,
Yeah. Agreed. And shout out to my guy Heck. I see you in the chat. What's good? Happy birthday to you once again, my brother. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself yesterday. This whole weekend is your weekend, man. So make the best of it, brother. Yeah, and like I said before, definitely support Morning Brew Sports Network, man. Great guys, really fun bunch. They are family too, man. We got a lot of family over here. So man, like, and it's interesting that you brought that name up, Noah. You mentioned Trae Young, Rayford Trae Young. I looked at that because, like I said, I was going back and forth with my friends, and man, we're friends like these, bro. Anyway, they were like, "Yo, but how he let Dennis Schroeder go at him like that?" But once again, going back to, and I wish I remembered that, Noah. I didn't think of that until right now when we were talking about it, and it popped in my. I forgot about the fact that Schroeder had a horrible game of epic proportions the game before, and so he was really trying to play better in this game. So I forgot about that. I'm gonna bring that up later in the group text. But anyway, if I told you that Dennis Schroeder and Trae Young have played each other 9 times head to head, who do you think would have the better record?
We said Dennis Schroeder and who?
Trae Young.
And FIBA basketball?
No, in general. Now, I know teams can be different. I get it. But, I mean, just thinking about it, 9 times Dennis Schroeder, and Dennis Schroeder wasn't on the same team. So you can't just say, oh, well, the Lakers are better than Atlanta. Lakers have been kind of putrid at certain points. So you can't, he's been on different teams. Head to head, Rayford Trae Young has played Dennis Schroeder 9 times. Who do you think has the better record?
I say Schroeder.
I'm going to say Schroeder. The Hawks have been kind of inconsistent. Obviously, Schroeder's on the Raptors now. We'll see how that is, but go ahead.
Right. It is correct. Schroeder, 5-4. But it didn't just take Schroeder like being with the Lakers. This was Schroeder with OKC. This was Schroeder with whatever team he was after that. And then Schroeder with the Lakers. So, and not all of these teams have been good. I mean, it is what it is. So, I just thought it was very interesting to see that. And then, my friend was telling me, he's like, listen, I mean, how could Jalen Brunson let Dennis Schroeder get the best of him? In those matchups, Schroeder got the best of Trae Young a couple times too. So, I had to throw the stats at him. But my point is, every dog has its day. Anybody can, and yes, Sherwin makes a good point. Like, Schroeder is a good defender. Like, Jalen Brunson can score. Yeah, he's a good defender. Yeah. He can score on anybody. Jalen Brunson can score on anybody, but sometimes, you go up against a good defender and they make it a little difficult. Now, what we've noticed is that if you give Jalen Brunson time, I don't care who's on him, he'll figure out a way to score. He's going to get it. He may not get it right away. He's got to figure out what you're doing to him. But in this game, apparently, he didn't get a lot of time, right? Because he wasn't even out there in the crunch time.
Yeah.
Is that an issue for Steve Kerr? You want to keep blaming Jalen Brunson, but maybe Kerr is not using Jalen Brunson in the best way to his abilities and how he works, So it's a whole big thing, man.
Well, they were getting killed on the boards, man. He kept Kessler on the bench.
Yes, and that's one thing everybody's saying. Everybody's saying that, Alan. It's a horrible thing to keep Kessler on the bench when you're getting killed on the boards. They've been getting killed on the boards historically since we got into these real FIBA games. Like the qualifiers, it's qualifying. You're playing different teams that may not be as good or have the type of roster construction as these other teams. But now that you get into the nitty-gritty, they're going up against these big teams with size, and it's like they're enforcing their will on the USA team was small. And it is what it is. That's just how it is. And once again, even with Jaren Jackson, who's the reigning defensive player of the year, just look at Jaren Jackson historically. He's not a good rebounder. He never has been. No. So, just it's not great roster construction. Then you got Bobby Portis. Like what? Okay. Bobby Portis is about stretching the floor, get you rebounds here and there. He can do a little bit of everything, but they needed somebody outside of Walker Kessler. They needed somebody who can go out there and really do the damn thing. So we'll see what happens in the future with USA basketball and with the NBA on the whole.
Can I make a point about USA basketball? There's a lot of talk about, these countries are catching up to us, blah, blah, blah. Come on, man. That wasn't the best we got. That wasn't even close to the best we got. There was no Kevin Durant. There was no Steph Curry, So, they got to get off of that. Well, these leagues are catching up to the NBA. No, man. No. If our best would have played, it would have been embarrassing for these other countries.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And thanks to Noah for being here and chopping it up with us. He had to go. His phone was dying, and it died. So I appreciate you, Noah. Thank you for jumping on, and we will chop it up again in the future, my guy, on probably on SKF Weekly on Monday nights in the future, the near future. Yeah, but I just think, I think we got a good one in Jalen Brunson, guys. I don't think you should get too crazy about what you saw during these FIBA games. Understand that he made the difference for the Knicks this past season. I don't care what you want to say. Julius Randle played great throughout the regular season, but part of the reason why he played great is knowing that we had Jalen Brunson here to take some of that weight off his shoulders. He also got to see somebody who would take control of the games when we would normally fumble them away. Jalen gave us that stability, and to me, Jalen Brunson's biggest attribute, biggest asset, and I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. You guys remember just watching Knick games. How many times have you noticed that the Knicks had a lead and Jalen Brunson would come down, hit a 2, come down, hit a 3, like in succession, right? And continue to build on the lead, right? Now, let me hit you with the flip side. How many times have you noticed in a game where the Knicks are playing a team, especially a good team? We had a good record against Boston and Miami and others in the regular season, and the other team starts to pull away a little bit. They're up 8. Jalen Brunson comes down, pops a 3. We get a defensive play. Jalen Brunson comes down, pops a 2. Like, he sees that if I don't do something right now, this game could get away from us and get out of hand. So he picks those times to hit those clutch, important baskets to keep the Knicks in the game. He helps extend leads, and he keeps the Knicks in the game. And you can't buy that. I don't care. You can't quantify how good that is to a team and how much of a difference that makes for this Knicks team. And then with Josh Hart's ability to get the loose balls, get steals, and be aggressive, those two together really help the team. And it also gives a culture to the rest of the team and helps them start playing that way too. Other guys who may not get down on the ground, like, oh, okay, Josh Hart's getting on the ground, I'll get on the ground. You know what I mean? It changes the whole culture and makeup of the team. Shout out to the chat once again. I think I already shouted you out, Billy Goat, but if I didn't, shout out to Billy Goat. Appreciate you, my brother. Hopefully you are doing well. Good to see you in the chat. My guys, _ C-Mac in the building, Fly God in the building. Salute, my brother. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. He treated Brunson like RJ when Tibbs takes him out and crunched him. Now he know how it feels. Yeah, that's what it looked like. Shout out to my guy Jay Ellis in the building. Your salute, Nick of Time show in the building. Guys, please support, salute, like, some comments, subscribe, all that good stuff for the Nick of Time show. And stay tuned and look forward to the new trivia show that they got going on that they'll be unveiling sooner than later. And I think I'm going to be on one of those shows very shortly. So stay tuned for that. Definitely good to see Jay Ellis in the building, and always support the Nick of Time show, one of my favorite shows in the community. Did I get everybody else? I got my guy Mega Comega in the building. Yeah, Travel Vibes is in the building. Salute. Always good to see you. Organic Fanatics is in the building. Shout out to them. Please show love to their podcast and like, comment, subscribe. Organic Fanatics on YouTube. Please show them some love, guys. And my guy Ashley Inc. is in the building. Wiz is here. Salute, Wiz. What's good? Appreciate you, my brother. Yes. All right. So yeah, man. I think in the end, guys, I think Jalen Brunson is exactly who we thought he was. He has not changed. And I think if you take anything from these FIBA games, just understand that this is just an isolated thing. He was playing a certain role and things just didn't work out. Look, he got exposed on defense. And he wasn't able to really make up for that on the offensive side because, once again, this is Team USA, and Steve Kerr has a bunch of different players he can choose from that need playing time. And not for nothing, this is just the last thing I'm going to say about this. Let's keep in mind, this is the same Team USA team that you got a player on the team that was upset about not being used, right? Not getting the playing time. You know what I mean? That's Mr. Brandon. Brent. Is it Brandon? Am I saying his name? Yeah, Ingram. Yeah, he was not happy that he's not been getting the playing time that he feels he deserves. And he said I wasn't going to make a big deal about it because we're winning, but it is what it is. So think about that. If he's complaining about playing time, and then you guys are talking about Jalen Brunson getting benched, there's other players on this team that deserve to play. This is an exhibition type thing, and yes, the USA wants to win everything they're in, but it's a team, and Steve Kerr is a very team-oriented type of coach. So not surprised that he's playing everybody.
Ron, this Brunson's the type that he'll take this loss and turn it into fuel for the season and have a little chip. He hears the chatter, I'm sure. I just have a lot of confidence in him because the guy has accomplished everything he set out to be. And, he's fought against all the, things against him, the height, everything, getting drafted in the second round out of college, and I just think he's proven everybody wrong at every turn and just showed his toughness. And I think he's going to have a great season, personally.
I think you're right. I agree with that. Shout out to Looking Good Doing It. He said Steve Kerr sucks. Okay. I hear you, bro. Knicks 100 is in the building. He said Edwards should not have been starting. I don't know about that. Edwards has been consistently Team USA's best player. I think this was a moment for him to kind of come into his own and see that, hey, I can play with my peers and take my game to the next level. The one thing I will say about Anthony Edwards hasn't changed. And I say, listen, they say gambling is not great. Right?Maybe it's not, but it helps you learn stuff about players too, in my opinion, because, you look at these guys and, you take take a little bet on them and you see that consistency is not always there. Guys can do one thing one night and the next night, next night, no, and then two nights later they'll have a good game. Like Anthony Edwards is that type of guy to me. He's very inconsistent as well. Is it extremely talented? Is he a trend? Maybe someone who could take over the league and become the best player in the league. Yes, he has that type of talent, but he's still terribly inconsistent. He's not RJ inconsistent, but he's inconsistent. So I think he's got to learn how to be able to reel in. Sometimes this game is, one of the things that everybody talks about when it comes to the NBA game is the speed of the game, how fast it is, right? And coming out of college, guys need to figure out, how can I keep up with the the pace of the game? It's so different. Defenders are quicker. Everything's just different, right? Anthony Edwards, I think, is fine. He can adapt to the style and speed of the game. That's not an issue. Sometimes you got to slow yourself down. Sometimes when the game is not falling the way you think shots aren't falling, got to stop being this way. I got to be a little less aggressive when it comes to outside shots. I got to take the ball in. I can jump out the gym. I can dunk over everybody. How do I kind of get to my spots? Then my teammate set me a pick, give me a curl, whatever. Like, these are things that doesn't take a lot to do. And a guy like Anthony Edwards can benefit from that. It all has to do with him understanding his game. Obviously, the coaching staff understanding how can I best use this guy. You know how many games I've seen Anthony Edwards go cold and have horrible shooting, and then they needed him, and no one else was stepping up. Cat, say what you want about him. He didn't play a lot of games, but and this year was probably the most I would say human. I've seen Cat when it comes to his overall numbers, because Cat puts up some crazy numbers sometimes, but this year wasn't like that. So I would say that he's got to learn how to pick and choose his spots better, and he'll get it. He'll get it. As an NBA player, over time, you start to figure out how to best be, your best version of yourself, and he's going to get it. But I think Anthony Edwards did deserve to start, and I think the rest of Team USA needed to step up. I mean, they were making it seem like the guy from the Lakers,
Reeves.
They were making it seem like Reeves was going to be the superstar of this team. And I was like, this is a bit much, because they were acting like every time he came into the game, everybody was standing on there clapping. And I'm like, all right, Reeves is a good player. Don't get me wrong. But Reeves is still a young guy. He's still learning how to play. He had a good playoff series. He came in and did some fantastic things. But I don't think he's ready for necessarily to be the guy yet. Okay, maybe he will be, but not right now. Anthony Edwards is more of that guy right now. But the rest of the guys got to step up. People in the chat are talking about Brandon Ingram not being what they thought Brandon Ingram was. I don't know. He didn't have a great FIBA games either. There's other guys on this team that didn't step up. Tyrese Halliburton played well. I will say he played well. But there's other guys on the team that maybe just didn't give them what they thought they were going to get. So you got to look at it like that. And I think in the end, everything is going to work out fine in the NBA. But the Team USA also didn't put their best, as you said, Alan. They didn't put their best out there either. And we've done this before.
And in an all-star type setting, man, because it's basically, okay, you look at the U.S. team, you can compare it to an all-star team. And it's hard because, here you got a bunch of players, almost everyone is, except for maybe Josh Hart. They're used to having the ball in their hand. They're used to being the PrimeTime, Mr., everything on the team. And, like you said, Jalen had to, back it up. He had to, reel it in. He couldn't be Jalen Brunson. He can come down, take the shot, when he wanted to or whatever. He had to, his job was try to get everybody involved, try to get people in their spaces. And, you had little time to get familiar with your teammates and things like that. So when you look at a player like Edwards or whatever, you can see why they would feel kind of like uncomfortable in that situation, unless you really, really just, back it up, really up, back it down and just, sacrifice your game. 3 or 4 people in the starting lineup sacrifice their game. We're not going to shoot as much. We're going to feed this guy. I didn't see that. Did you see that where they take advantage of a mismatch? I mean, we had good players, outstanding players on our team where we could have found a mismatch against Germany, against one of these teams, and took advantage of it. But that would have took players backing down their ego, taking less shots, sacrificing their game. And I didn't see that at all.
Yeah. No, and that's a good point, Alan. I think that really is true. And another thing that's true, it goes back to styles, right? Styles, matchups. Steve Kerr, a lot of people are in the chat saying Steve Kerr is not a good coach. I don't want to say he's not a good coach. Guy, he's a multiple championship winning coach, and he's won championships as a player. I think he is a coach that understands what he needs to do. Problem is he doesn't have the personnel, right? You can't, and I'm not saying that's exactly what he's doing, but I'm just saying he's known for running the Golden State Warriors, right? Golden State has a system that people are envious of, but it works because of the type of players they got, that style. You can't run that style of system with every team. And I'm not saying he's doing it. I'm sure he's tweaked it a little bit because he knows he doesn't have that. But Team USA is not a good shooting team. We've seen it already. They don't got a lot of good shooters. Reeves is a pretty good shooter, pretty decent. Jalen Brunson is a decent shooter for what he did with the Knicks. But in Team USA, it's a different setting. Maybe it's not enough good shooting to warrant maybe what he's trying to do out there. There's no Steph Curry on that team. There's no Klay Thompson. It's just a different team. So when you're used to a certain style of system and you're trying to do something with a team that just not shooting that way, like look what happened when we played was it Lithuania? They shot the lights out on us. They couldn't miss, man. They were hitting all types of shots. Ex-Knick players were frolicking in the hills. Like, you know, Kuzminkas and you know, our guy Rokas, and then, you know, what's his face, Izzy Brezdeikis. They were getting crazy against us because it just the rim looked incredible to them. They couldn't miss, and we couldn't combat that. It was almost kind of like watching our Knicks play Miami. When Miami had that game, they shot lights out, and we could not stop them, and we couldn't keep up with them. Just when you got something like that, and you don't have other ways to combat that, you don't got bigs that are rebounding the ball. You don't got guards that are playing, you know, stellar defense on closing out on the perimeter. And I will say that sometimes even that doesn't matter, because we saw that guy Kuzminkas, Mindonkas, whatever. He shot a couple shots in people's faces, and these guys were all over him. It didn't matter. He still shot the ball. It was kind of reminded me of that time when we played the Cavaliers a couple years ago, and the point guard lit us up for like 30 plus points. Never seen him do something like that before in his life. He could not miss. I forget his name. Damn it.
You're talking
I'm hard. What? Say that again?
Sexton? Were you talking about Sexton?
No. The European guy.
Oh, European.
Damn it. Oh, I hate when I forget these names. Yeah, I can't remember his name right now, but I know you guys know who it is. What was his name, man? All right, that's gonna stick with me. Somebody will say it in the chat. You guys remember it was 2 years ago or so. The European guy, he's not even known for his offense. He's more of a facilitator, passer of the ball, and playing some defense. And he lit us up. We could not stop him. But whatever.
Here's you talking about Rubio?
Ricky Rubio. Yes, he lit us up. We could not stop this guy. He was shooting from everywhere in everybody's face. You know,
yeah,
it happens. It happens sometimes. It is what it is. But yeah, you know, you can't stress it. You just have to kind of move on. The problem for the USA team is that they lost the damn game. You got to figure out a way to win these games. I don't care no matter what. When you've got 14 or 15 different NBA players on your roster, you should be able to win these games. I don't care who you're playing. It says a lot. It says a lot about us. I mean, look, we came into the FIBA games. Spain was supposed to be the favorite. That says a lot to me. And no matter who the USA had on the team, Spain was the favorite. So I don't know, man. But it is what it is, guys. But I think we're gonna be fine. Don't fret. Jalen Brunson's still gonna be that guy for our team. But that gets us to the other gentleman. RJ Barrett and Team Canada get eliminated from gold medal contention, right? And you know that RJ Barrett is the topic of everybody's conversations these days. He's the new it guy. They don't even talk about Julius anymore the way they used to. It's all about RJ Barrett. He's been very inconsistent. He's been very up and down, even in these FIBA games. But the good thing is he has been up and down. It hasn't been just all bad. He's had maybe 2 stinkers, but for the most part, he's played pretty good basketball overall. He's had even in this elimination game, his numbers were not bad. Somebody on Twitter was complaining, and they were like, "Oh, man, listen, Team Canada got eliminated, and RJ didn't do anything to help them." And I think RJ was either 7 for 13 or 8 of 14. And last time I checked, that's over 50% from the field.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What are you talking about? Like, I'm confused. Like, I know I get it. Like, sometimes you see the narrative and it looks like, RJ's the reason for everything. Sometimes it ain't RJ. He played actually okay in this game. He's got a whole team of guys on that team that should have been doing something, and he's not the only guy. So sometimes you look to point a finger, but you can't blame him for everything. What's your thoughts on RJ in these FIBA games? Are you worried about him with the Knicks? I know you spoke about him a little earlier, but are you worried about him at all?
No. I think RJ's thick-skinned, man. That's one thing, like I said, I give him credit for. Whether he has a bad game, good game, whatever, he's there to face the music, And he's young. We forget that. RJ's still a pretty young guy. He hasn't developed as quickly or as big as we wanted him to, but I still think he's a quality ball player.
Yep. I agree. I agree. I think RJ, and it sounds weird when I say this, and I continue to say it because I believe in it. I do think, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what he's going to do specifically, but I feel like RJ is going to have his best year as a New York Knick this year. And you know, some people might be like, "Yo, Ron, I don't know what you're smoking. I don't know what you're talking about." It doesn't take a lot for him to do this, guys. RJ's been terribly inconsistent. RJ can just go out there and average around 20 points per game, give you around 6 rebounds, give you around 4 assists, play a little better defense than he played last year, and be more consistent in taking his shots and picking his spots. And he's already having his best year as a New York Knick. Like, this doesn't take that much for him to do. He can do it easily.
Yes.
So I expect him to do it. I honestly do. I think that at some point he's going to learn how to slow himself down a little bit more. He's got more competition being here because remember, minutes are going to be scarce, right? Quickly is in lieu of a contract. I don't know if they're going to do it before the game start or if he's going to have to, play the season. Grimes is another one. He's going to be up for a contract next year, but he also wants to show he's improved. Obi's not here anymore, but you brought in DiVincenzo, who's going to be taking minutes from people. Like, the minutes are going to be scarce, and RJ already saw his minutes start to get cut last year. Already saw getting pulled and benched in crunch time of games. So I expect RJ to step up and say, listen, I know what happened last year. I didn't like it. I didn't like that feeling. So let me get back to what I know how to do and show you guys that I belong on this team and I can contribute. I may not be number one. I may not be number two, but I could be a solid number 3 for this team. And I think that's what he'll do.
How do you think Julius Randle being on the Knicks affects RJ?
Honestly, and I've said this for maybe 2 years now, I don't think RJ and Julius Randle are the best fit out there together. I don't think they really should be on the same team together. I just think they command similar spaces. They live in the paint area. They live in that little mid to 3-point range on the corners and the wings. I just think, and they're both lefty and they go left. I just think they command too much of the same thing and they have the same kind of bully ball type of mentality. It's just too similar. And they're not the best at facilitating. If one of them was better than the other at being an orchestrator on the court and using their teammates, well, Randall is better. So, all right, technically Randall is better, but like, I just think they play in similar spaces and it just doesn't work to me. You'd have to have something else that adds to the mix that takes you away from that. Like if Julius was a much more consistent defender, okay, well, it is what it is. They occupy the same space, but Julius is a good defender and we'll take it. Or if RJ was a better defender, you take it. It's just that they both kind of lack in that area. And it's not, and I think RJ, it's more of the ability is tougher for him. Julius Randle can be a good defender. For whatever reason, he chooses to pick his spots, but he's got the ability to be a good defender. We've seen it already. It's all about, I guess, maybe he expends too much energy on the offensive side and he kind of takes time to get his breath on the deep. I don't know what it is, but it's not helping the Knicks sometimes. So I don't. I hear you, though.
Yeah, it had me asking myself that question, man. Watching some games sometimes is, Tibbs always harbors hate. You got to earn your minutes. You got to earn your minutes. You got to earn your minutes. And these games where Julius is actually, and it's always when his shot is not falling, he seems to, fall off completely. I mean, Julius is not one of these type of players. Okay, my offensive game is off, so I'm gonna step up my defensive game. No. He's not that. And I just feel that Julius Randle, if he gave 100, and if he just came to realization more this year than he did last year, because he said it. I don't know if you've seen the Paul George podcast with Julius Randle, But even Randall said it, how he was so happy that Jalen was here and how much pressure he took off him, because, you know, it was the Knicks offense was this: bring the ball up court, give it to Julius, everybody move out of the way and see what he, you know, now you got Jalen. But I feel if Randall took a even more step back and just let the ball, like, play develop, you know, maybe get the ball on the third pass instead of on the first pass, you know, you'll get in a better position to score. Same thing with RJ. You mentioned it. It's not the amount of shots you take; it's the quality of shots you take. You know, stay in your lane. You know, stay in your range. Okay, RJ, man, you're great as penetrating. You know, develop that short pull up, man. You know, and stay away. You know, yeah, take a few threes a game, but, you know, don't make that. You're not a 3-point shooter. We already see that. You know, but play to your strength. Play to your strength.
No, I agree. I think so. I think that's very important for RJ. I think you know, I've said this before. Sometimes, you know, we point the fingers because these guys are responsible for their own actions out there in the court. I as much as, like, even when we're talking about Steve Kerr and how he's not doing certain things for the Team USA and how we got to this point, and I'm not trying to blame Tom Thibodeau. I actually am happy with what Tom Thibodeau has done. I think he's improved as far as understanding how to use his team a little better. But I also think he's created some of these patterns and habits that we see from Julius Randle and see from RJ Barrett. Like, he's not held them accountable for certain things. Some of the stuff I see out there in the court, I'm like, Tom Thibodeau, the disciplinarian that's yelling at his team for not being in the right spots, you're going to let that go? You're going to let RJ take this amount of shots, not hit, not pass the ball when he's got a guy wide open? Like, I can't imagine that Thibodeau allows some of this stuff to happen. So I think that Thibodeau's kind of helped create this culture. And so, like, RJ and Julius have kind of ran into it and kind of benefited from it, and it's been a bad thing. But I do think it's going to start to change more, because I think the addition of Jalen Brunson kind of helps with that. Jalen Brunson plays basketball the right way. I think Josh Hart helps with that. Josh Hart plays basketball the right way. He's smart out there. Yes, he may be not the best at scoring the basketball. He was better in the past, that, you know, but he's not that guy anymore. And he lacks some aggression when it comes to his shot. But he knows how to play the game the right way. And then he does little things that I think help the team. It benefits the team and helps them win. And I think having those two guys here and then bringing in Dante DiVincenzo is going to be another one that helps them. And so some of these bad habits that Julius and RJ may have displayed in the past, I don't think they're going to be promoted as much anymore. And I think other guys on the team may start to step up. You know, Jalen may start being a little bit more vocal. This is year 2 for him. So certain things that he may not have said something about, maybe he will say something this time around. Because, like, you know, now we're a team. I'm here. I'm ready to win. I'm not going to step on your toes. Now we're together. It is, I feel comfortable saying stuff. Or Josh Hart, I feel comfortable saying stuff. Because last year was a little bit more of a feeling out process. I think this year is a little different. So I expect them to clean up some of this stuff. I don't expect something like what we saw with Obi and RJ to happen on this team. You know, Obi yelling at RJ because RJ's not passing him the ball and he's wide open. I don't expect that to happen this year around. So we'll see. Shout out to a couple more people in the chat. David Smith, I don't know if I said what's up to you already, but thank you for being here, my brother. Appreciate you. Quiet Money is in the building. Salute, Quiet Money. Thank you for rocking. I just saw another name. I was just going to say what's up to. I think I said D-Ras already, but I don't know. I lost the name. Whatever. It'll come back to me if I see it again. But thank you guys for being here. And if I missed you, please, once again, understand that I appreciate you being here. As always, it's always a pleasure. Quality Jumper in the building. What's going on, my brother? Appreciate you. Hidalgo Soul is here. Salute to you, my brother. And let me read this super chat from my guy, Parrish Duggar. Thank you for the generous super chat, as always, Parrish. He says, Halliburton looks like a world beater in a quick peek. He's not a big-time player in a bigger sample size the way fans try to make him. So calm down. I mean, it's true. When you see guys in limited pieces, you start to, appreciate the game, but understand when they get the spotlight and they're controlling the show. We saw Halliburton did some really good things last year. He has some really good numbers, deserved to be an all-star. When you look at the numbers, no matter what Wally Zerbiak said, and, he had to take it back. I don't know what that was all about, but I've also seen him not step up in moments where, he could. It happens. Just, nobody's perfect. So it is what it is. But I don't think the only thing I will say about him, don't forget, let me just double check because I want to know exactly what it is again. People have been, kind of comparing Halliburton and Brunson, which, I don't know if that's fair or not, but they're doing it anyway. Jalen Brunson is 6'1", maybe 6 feet. I still think that one is a little reach, but Halliburton is 6'5" with a long wingspan, and he can do some special things out there in the court. He can rebound the ball. He can pass the ball. He's one of the best. Sometimes people forget Jalen Brunson is a good facilitator. Halliburton is one of the best. So don't take anything away from the guy. He's good at that. Like, he was incredible in college at finding guys on the court and passing the ball. He's great. So that's his benefit. And he can rebound. He's got good height, good size. And he can shoot the three. He's at that 38, 39% clip. Jalen Brunson was at that 39, 40% clip himself from three. So don't take that away from him. Jalen Brunson averaged around 28 points on the last third of the season last year, going into the playoffs. Don't take that away from him. He started off slow, but as the year got more and more, he started scoring more and more. Jalen Brunson is a beast when it comes to that. So just, I saw Jalen Brunson have a game where he shot 86% from the field. Did you hear what I said, people? 86% from the field. And he didn't take 2 shots. So this guy's a special guy. So anyway, don't want to harp too much on it. But thank you, Parrish. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you as always. Thanks to all the viewers that are watching the show on YouTube and on Facebook. Please smash that like button. Show your love for the show. I appreciate you guys. Thanks again to my special guest, Noah Cahill, for being here and chopping it up with us. And appreciate my guy, Double A Allen Alford, in the building. First time on the show. From the chat to the stage. Thank you, Alan. You've been great, man. This conversation has been dope, and it's really good to see you on the show, being able to chop it up face to face. Yeah.
And I was hoping maybe that was excuse. Getting back to what you're talking about Tibbs letting players take certain liberties. You know what I mean? Taking plays off. I'm hoping to chop that up to just. That's all he got, you know what I mean? If he sits Randall, then they really lost. So he's like sacrificing, offense for defense, But hopefully now that he's getting more tip type players, that he'll clean that up. Because really, ask yourself, can we win a championship like that? For the Knicks to win a championship with the roster that we have, our players have to play above their heads. We got to have at least 2 players having career years, and everybody's just got to play defense like above their heads, and you're not going to do that giving players certain liberties and certain, things they get away with, to me, Randall is an important part of the Knicks. I tell you, about 25 points, 10 rebounds, that's not easy to come by. And, the first game, against Cleveland, I was feeling them, man. I'm like, yeah, man, we need our wrecking ball, We need Julius out there wrecking people, you know what I mean? But if the Knicks, if they come to play, which they make number 1, intensity on defense. If Julius Randle gives the same intensity on defense that he does offense, if RJ Barrett just steps it up a little bit, we can make some noise. I firmly believe make the noise. We made noise last year, We need a couple of things in our roster. I really believe that, but I really believe, as constructed, the Knicks can go far. They can go further than they did last year. But what it's going to take is everybody all in. You got to be all in.
Yeah, I agree. I've been putting these up, but let me read these because I've read. Thank you. Shout out to man. This guy sticks in your head, man. Ajay, man, who's always on Dope Soul Sports Talk. He's like, Ron, can you please read what they're saying in the chat? Some of us are working and we're just listening. I'm like, all right.
Sorry.
First, Quiet Money says the roster is flawed. Y'all don't take everything into consideration when evaluating Tibbs and what he has done. That is fair. Our roster has been flawed, but guess what? I am starting to get away from the flawed excuse now because the roster is starting to come together. You want to say we might have too much of a certain type on the roster? Yes. Maybe we got too many guards, right? And not enough not enough bigs that are offensively talented. However, we've got better basketball players on the team now. So that is something. Grimes is becoming a better basketball player. Hopefully he takes a step this year. We've already seen Quickly become a better basketball player because we didn't know he could play this type of defense, and he's playing much better defense. He just has to be more consistent on the offensive side, and he can't have what happened in the playoffs to happen again for him. So, and I think he'll be better. Julius Randle is a good player. I'm not taking anything away from him. We don't even have to talk about him. Jalen Brunson, good player, same thing. RJ Barrett needs to step up and be more consistent and stop taking bad shots. Don't take if the defense is giving it to you, yes, you have to take it here and there. But I had this conversation with somebody before and argued. The guy's like, if you're leaving me open in the corner for three, he's got to take that shot. I agree, he does. But if they do it consistently multiple times, he doesn't, because RJ is gifted at getting to the basket. He can pump fake, or even if he doesn't pump fake, he knows how to get to the rim. He can get to the rim and make an easier shot for himself. He doesn't always have to take that shot. So RJ needs to do that. And then you got Dante DiVincenzo, who is a high IQ basketball player who's good with facilitating the basketball. He's got a good handle. He can knock down the three at a 38% clip. Not too bad. You got Josh Hart. We know what he can do as far as defensively. He's the workman out there. He can do a lot of things to help the team and give us second chance opportunities and that stuff. These are guys that I've mentioned that are all, I think, pretty good basketball players that can do a lot for this team. Mitchell Robinson, the best offensive rebounder in the NBA. That's a benefit. Hartenstein, probably the best big man off the bench in the NBA last year. If not number one, he was definitely top 5. I'm going to say he's top 3. So the Knicks got some stuff on this team that they can use. You can't tell me that the roster, even though it may not be ideal with a good mix of people, we still don't have that 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" small forward. Not 6'9", that's might be too much, but 6'7", 6'8" small forward that you'd love to have, a 3-and-D guy. Agreed. But we've got some good basketball players on the team now. I think the Knicks will be good, if not better than they were last year. So that's to that. I had put up a couple others real quick. Let me just say these. David Smith says Brunson. Oh, wait, hold on. Before I get to that, JJ said Halliburton was a 50, 40, 90 guy, I believe, last season. Pretty crazy. Halliburton has some really good numbers, and that's the reason why he deserved to be an all-star. Just numbers alone. He did well enough for that Indiana team, and he was definitely the best player on Indiana. So it is what it is. David Smith says Brunson more of an undersized scoring shooting guard than a point guard. There's probably a lot of truth to that. He can facilitate, but he's not the greatest facilitator. And we saw some moments down the stretch, especially in the playoffs, where when they started trapping, he necessarily didn't make the right pass. It is what it is. That comes with time. He's got to understand his teammates, and his teammates need to understand him. We'll get there. Nick of Time Show, my guy Jayla said Hallie's passing can't be denied. Brunson is a dog who, when a game is on the line, you aren't going to stop him. And that is very true. He definitely steps up when you really need him to. He just knows that I got to do this because this is my time to help this team. And he's failed too. We've seen him miss big shots in the end of games. We've seen him miss big free throws, but he takes it on the chin and he's accountable for it. And the next game he goes out there and tries to be better. I appreciate that from him. I think that was where I stopped for the most part. But yes, shout out to Ajay. Pudge says, yeah, he's keeping us on our square, man. Yeah, I appreciate him. Alex Isaac is in the building. Salute you. Appreciate you, my guy. Thank you for tuning in. And he says players haven't played over their heads to win. This is a growing group. Players just need to develop. I agree. Let me tell you something, Alan. I think you can agree to this too. If Emmanuel quickly had a pretty good year for the Knicks last year, it was decent. But let's not forget, the first 5-6 weeks of the season, he was horrible. He was struggling. So he can be a little bit more consistent with that, coming to the year playing better. If he can rebound from his horrible playoff performance, that's a change for the Knicks. Quentin Grimes, who had a herky-jerky type year, was okay, but he's ups and downs, and his playoff performance outside of the defense offensively was really bad. I don't expect to see that type of Quentin Grimes. I expect him to be better this year. So just having that throughout the season, having the addition of DiVincenzo, having Josh Hart for a full season, having the Jalen Brunson that we saw towards the end of the season start the season with the Knicks, because he got better as the year went on. And we'll have that guy to start the season, I believe. There's no way this Knicks team is not going to be better. I think they will be. Your thoughts on that?
My whole thing is Tibbs has to define the roles early. I think that hurt Quick last year, and his because if you remember, he started Fournier and quickly wasn't getting. I don't think he was getting 14, 15 minutes a game in the first few weeks, and I think that hurt him a bit. I think Quickly is a confidence type player. He gets it going, man. I mean, he can burn you, and I guess he can go the opposite way too. But I think we really, really got to have the roles defined, especially with the abundance, like you said, of guards. I mean, we're stacked, man. I mean, you can make an argument for any one of these guys to start. Brunson to me would be, of course, a clear-cut starter at point guard, but a shooting guard. I mean, I know a lot of people would like to see Dante start as shooting guard, or even Hart as shooting guard. Like one of my arguments earlier was, I don't want to see Josh Hart playing backup power forward. That just takes away from the man's strength. The man is like one of the top rebounding guards in the NBA, and that's a strength. And it's like we're giving away our strength just to cover up our roster flaws.
Right.
I think it's going to be really, really important for Tibbs to iron out the rotation. I mean, I think it was easier for him last year because he didn't have the horses he had this year. This year, he has some options at shooting guard and point guard. He has options. Point guard, like I said, Brunson, he's going to eat up those minutes. Small forward, RJ is going to eat up these minutes. My question to you is this. Is RJ better as a shooting guard, or is he better as a small forward? Because like you, I thought RJ, when he first started coming in the league, the way he was bullying his way to the basket, he was reminding me of a young James Harden. That's who I was looking at, game-wise. It was just like James Harden. It's like RJ, his size, he can get to the rim when he wants to. It's just a matter of finishing. I don't think he has a leaping ability to finish over people and stuff. But, I mean, he can get to his basket as strong as he wants to. You think he's better as shooting guard or a small forward?
I have thought since I've been watching RJ that he's better at shooting guard. Yes. I think that he seems to be more comfortable at that position offensively. Defensively, probably it's touchy. You know what I mean? Because there's shooting guards around this league that are incredible, and RJ having to guard those guys, he's going to struggle whether he's playing shooting guards or point guards or small forwards. You know what I mean? So the defensive side of it is you got to take the good with the bad. But I think offensively, putting him against fellow shooting guards, he has such an advantage. RJ is a big guy. You know, I don't care how you want to look at it. Guys, he's not small, and he's able to use that strength to get to spots on the court. And he can do it against small forwards, and he can definitely do it against shooting guards. So I think it just benefits him. I think he feels more comfortable. Granted, the sample size showed that he struggled at all aspects of the game last year. But when you look over his career, he's done really well at the shooting guard spot. So I think he definitely would be better at that. I just think the problem with RJ, and this is where fellow Knick fans, and I have to agree with them, they make a good point. He doesn't shoot well. So to be a shooting guard, you need to shoot. And that is an issue for a guy like RJ. I don't know the best fit for him. If the Knicks had a little better roster construction as far as having guys around the team that could shoot, if the Knicks had a shooting guard that you can depend on, that can knock it down, to come in as a off the bench, or if they had a small forward that can knock it down. I think Jalen Brunson knocks it down at a good clip. If Julius was a little bit more consistent knocking it down, because Julius shot around 33% from three. That's not great. No. I mean, as good as he shot a lot of threes last year too, which helped him up his points per game, but he just didn't do it at an efficient clip. If they had more efficiency at other spots, you can live with an RJ not shooting that great from the perimeter at the 2 guard, but they don't have that. So the Knicks are a funky bunch when it comes to that stuff, and it's going to continue to hurt them. Shout out to Jay Ellis once again, the Nick of Time show. He said if 2 people out of RJ and Randall and Grimes hits threes consistently, we will start rolling. I agree. They got to definitely be more consistent at shooting these outside perimeter shots in order to help the Knicks overall. But Allah Wise said something, dude, I think is an incredible take. He said, shout out to you, Allah Wise, bad shots aren't shots you miss. They're the ones you can't make that you don't practice. Other than that, you let it go. This is very true. A lot of guys take shots that they're not accustomed to hitting because they're left open. And that's the point. That's why the defense does it. They give you that shot because they don't think you can knock it down consistently. And as a Knick team, we're seeing a lot of that happen over and over. So, there's 2 rules of thumb. It's either one, you go in off season, you practice those shots. Okay, they keep giving me these shots. I got to knock it down. So I'm going to keep practicing. Or, which is what I hoped RJ would do, and I still don't even know if he did do. Let me work on my mid-range, right? Instead of them giving me this 3-point shot from further than my range, let me move in a little bit, hit that 20-foot mark or something, and knock this 2 down consistently. So now, I'm a weapon. No matter what you think, you can come out, try to guard my 3 or let me take it, but I'm going to do a couple dribbles. I'm going to get a pick. Somebody's going to give me a screen or something, and I'm going to step in a little bit and knock down this 2 and give our team 2 points that I can depend on rather than a 3 that may not happen. Excuse me. I have yet to see that consistently. If I can see that from RJ or any of these Knick players when they know how it going, I'll feel really comfortable. Instead of even Julius Randle has that problem too. I think Julius can knock down that 2 pretty consistently if he just takes a nice 2 squared up to the basket. But Julius wants to fall away. He wants to do the turnaround. Like, just take a nice set shot where you squared up to the basket. Too much fancy stuff out there. Just play ball. Just play ball. I don't know. We'll see. It's all up. David L said his name is Chuck.
Brian, who would you start as shooting guard? You had your choice. Who would you start as shooting guard? Salaries aside.
Honestly, roster construction wise, I don't like let me say it 2 different ways, right? I don't think that Josh Hart should start. Okay. I think it was a mistake for Thibodeau to start Josh Hart after starting Quentin Grimes for most of the season last year, and then, you know, switching that role up. The reason why I say that is because you go out there with a team of Jalen Brunson, who's a very good scorer, ISO basketball player. RJ Barrett, when he's going good, can get his, right? Right. And he can command, if he's going good, he can command a double team. That if he's going good, which is not often all the time. Julius Randle, we know what he can do out there. Right. I think a guy like Quentin Grimes benefits because these ISO guys who could slash to the rim, who definitely, you know, primed to give a kick out to somebody wide open. A guy like Quentin Grimes benefits from that, especially if you already feel like he doesn't, you know, create his own shot. I mean, he can dribble and get to certain, but he's not aggressive with it to get to the lane and do certain things. He's not a scorer like that. He's a shooter. Grimes, to me, benefits from that. You need that type of guy. Would you rather kick it out to Quentin Grimes in that starting lineup, or would you rather kick it out to Josh Hart, who sometimes backs away and doesn't look like he wants to shoot the ball? To me, it's a no-brainer. So I think Grimes should start at the 2, and RJ should be the 3 in that scenario. I would prefer RJ at the 2, but I don't think Grimes plays the small forward position that well. Now, if you're talking about just being able to play your best possible lineup, I'd probably have RJ starting at the 2 and then put maybe Dante DiVincenzo or Hart at the 3. So that's different. If I need a 3, I would probably go to one of those 2 guys because they could play the position a lot better than either RJ or Grimes, my opinion. Some people say, well, I've said this in the past, why do the Knicks never think or consider IQ at the 2? Because I really think that IQ is a 2 in this league.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work for this Knick team because you don't want to. It's like you wasting IQ having him with Jalen Brunson, and then, you know, RJ Barrett's going to probably start the 3 unless you're putting RJ on the bench, and then Julius Randle. Like, IQ needs to be able to have room to roam. He's probably one of the most talented players coming off the bench that we got, and he needs to be able to score. You put that scoring in the starting lineup. Now, where are you getting it from in the bench? Like, Hart is not aggressive enough. He's not as confident enough in the scoring. DiVincenzo may be able to give you a little something, but he's not the guy to take over games on the bench. And then Grimes hasn't shown that he can do that as of yet. So you got quickly is needed on that bench. Unless you say, sorry, RJ, you're the bench mob now. If you do that, I'm okay with it. Put IQ at the 2, put either DiVincenzo or Hart at the 3, and make RJ be the 6th man and control that bench. Like, go crazy. Shoot as many shots as you want. It's your bench now. You do that, that's okay.
What Tibbs was doing a lot last season, he was taking RJ out and resting him and then bringing him back in with the second unit, which was working because it was getting RJ more touches because it was hard with him and Brunson and Randle, you know, sharing the ball in the starting lineup. So his way of adding offense to the second unit was bringing RJ in with the second unit, which worked. I see Dante DiVincenzo and Grimes as the people that I would put as shooting guard, basically because they both can shoot and they both have defense. Because with Jalen Brunson at point guard, that pretty much makes us have to have somebody at that 2 spot that can defend. You know, we need somebody that can take on, you know, one of the scorers on the other team. You know, so that pretty much tells you it's either got to be Dante or Grimes because of their offense and their ability to hit the open shot. You know, Brunson is a good kicking out, you know, drive and kick. You know, you got to have that person to hit the shot. And like you said, RJ in a shooting guard spot, I just don't see him hitting that shots consistently. You know what I mean? He just won't hit that shot consistently. Grimes, my only knock on Grimes is aggressiveness. Now, I don't know if we can attribute that to him playing with Brunson, RJ, and Randle. You know, it's not too many shots left there. But to me, Grimes needs to get more and more aggressive for me to be. I mean, shooting guard is what it says. You need scoring for that position, and you need consistent scoring for that position. And think RJ would do it at shooting guard. I think he's big enough to play with the bigger small forwards in the league. I don't think Grimes is big enough. He showed that against Jimmy Butler. He showed that against the gentleman from Dallas Mavericks. His name is putting me away, but Dante.
Luka.
He struggles against the bigger small forwards in the league. I noticed, because he's still just 6'4", you know. I think that's where our Achilles heel is. If it's anything, we got so many guys with the same skill set. Now, quickly, he would be great, I think, starting, because he gives you the offense, and when his improved defense, that opens up the lot. And hey, man, if you're gonna give him the bag, then we got to get something from him.
Right. I think really, I mean, I don't know how the Knicks would do it, but if they really want to kind of get the best out of certain players and kind of fix some of this roster construction, I think RJ would have to go. Because I think in the end, I think Julius is going to go. Not now, though. I think when Julius's contract is up, I don't think that the Knicks are going to pony up that money that they're going to have to pay for Julius, because Julius and JB are going to be coming up at the same time. And if you're going to pick between one or two to pay, I think you're going to have to pay Jalen Brunson over Julius Randle, barring that Jalen Brunson continues to play the way he's been playing, of course. I think you got to play Jalen over Julius, because that's going to be a lot of money. Julius is going to command $200 million. Jalen Brunson is going to command $250 million or more. And I mean, like, a little more. Like, that's a lot of money. And I don't think they're going to pay both of those guys. And at that point, Julius is right now 29. He's going to be 30. So you're talking maybe another year or two, maybe 32. JB was 26 when we got him. So he's going to be 27, 28, 29. I mean, 28 around that time of his re-up. That's not as bad. And it's just, not enough money to go around. You're going to have to figure out what this roster is. And I think that you got to get rid of somebody to open up that spot. Like, I really do think that Quickly should be starting shooting guard on this Knicks team. I do think, I've said that forever, and we haven't seen it yet. But you've been forced to keep putting Quickly on the bench because you don't got any bench scoring or, that output. But he should be the starting shooting guard. And RJ would be great if he could do other things, but he hasn't shown that he can. So I'm thinking you're going to have to unload him. The only way that RJ stays on this team is if he does what I say he's going to do. If RJ has one of his best years as a New York Knick, that might keep him here. But if he doesn't, if RJ has a similar year to what he did last year, I'm not talking about the playoffs. The playoffs was pretty good, regular season wise. Does that again, I think RJ's gone. And I know some people are like, but who's going to want RJ with his $100 million contract? It'll be a little less by then, maybe $80 million, because they'll pay him a year. The Knicks are going to move off of this guy. I'm telling you, they're not going to keep playing around with having RJ here, knowing that they're trying to win, and then you're going to have to pay Quickly, and then the next year Grimes is up, and then the year after that, Julius and Jalen are up. Like, they're not going to just keep paying guys and not getting the return out of it. I don't care how good the attendance is. You want to win, you're going to have to make some tough decisions, and this is year 5. If RJ don't step up in year 5, I don't care who you are. I love RJ, but he's going to have to go. That's my opinion. So
no, it's right, because we keep playing around with this, and it's like, okay, is he a shoot, like we were just the debate right now? We don't know where to play him. Do you play him as shooting guard? If you play him as shooting guard, his 3-point shot is not good enough to play shooting guard. He plays small forward, his defense is not good enough, and once again, his shooting is not good enough. So it's like he's the odd man out. You know what I mean? Julius Randle, I mean, he plays his position. He's a power forward. He plays his position. We know where he can help us at. However, this goes back to drafting and developing, because we got to have somebody ready to take Julius' spot, and this is where I think we messed up with Obi Toppin. I mean, Obi Toppin was not used right. Obi Toppin was not played to his strength. I think a lot of it was his fault. He could have put a little bit more energy into his game, tried to crash the boards a little bit more, or try to find a nick or whatever. But, you know, with these salary cap coming up and the people coming up needing, you know, new deals and stuff, you know, development plays a big, you know, we're not just going to be able to go out and sign or trade a new power forward. You know, you got to have somebody ready to you know, plug in there. You know what I mean? Quickly should have been heir apparent for shooting guard. We should have been developing Quickly to take over. I think Quickly's game is like Maxey of Phillies. If you look at Maxey's game, Philadelphia and Quickly, I see two exactly same players. I see two players with the same skill set. The only thing is Maxey gets more time, he gets more light and more freedom and more shots. But I think Quickly can be that player, if not better, because of his defense. But here again, okay, now what do? You're paying Dante almost $20 million a year. You're paying Hart $20 million a year, and you know these guys are not complete ball players that we can say, okay, he can be the starting shooting guard, or he can be the starting small forward. So, I mean, what are we doing here?
Right. That's fair. Shout out to Shaw Legacy. Thank you for correcting me, bro. I don't know why I'm adding. I feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm bugging out. I could have swore Julius was 29 already, but he will be 29 this year. But he's still 28. So yeah, he's good age, man. He's still pretty young, and still just hitting his prime.
But do we want to pay him $50 million?
That's the thing. And so who said it? Where was it? Yeah. Shout out to my guy, Fly God. He was like, Randall making 200 million sounds crazy to me. I know, but you guys know, right? Look, Randall's contract, he's getting paid. It was 4 years, 116 million. This guy last year had 25, 10, and 4. That's a $200 million player in this current NBA. Where the CBA agreement is taking guys, that's $200 million right there. So
easy.
Yeah, so I mean, don't be surprised. Now, in fairness, shout out to David L. and I think Knicks 100 as well. Saying, like, if he continues to play the way he's playing, the Knicks might be in a situation where they may say, listen, you know, we got to keep Julius. They may want to keep Julius, and if that's the case, that's fine. But you got to figure out another way to help build this roster around them to make it so that you're an elite team and can play for contend for a championship. I don't think you can let Jalen Brunson go. That would be kind of crazy. But would the Knicks consider keeping Julius and Jalen Brunson being so much of a high commodity that he prices himself out of here? Who knows? Because I'm telling you, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, when his contract comes up, we're talking 250 million. Maybe they can get him on a discount, but it's over 200. Like maybe they can get it for like 225 or something. But he's 200 million as well. Like, can they afford to pay those two guys 200 million? And at that point, if they decide to do something like that, you know, RJ Barrett is gone. They ain't nowhere we paying this guy 100 million. These two guys 200 plus. Like, and then who knows what's going to happen with Quickly. There's just not enough money to go around for a team that's not even showing that they can win on an elite level yet. It could happen, guys. It could happen. So there's a lot. I mean, let's not forget, we talk about the game a lot and what we're seeing out there, but there's a business part of it, and the Knicks are starting to become part of the business. You can't be a part of the business if your team ain't good. When you start to become better and start to win games and get expectations, now the business part of it starts to come into the picture. So we'll see. Our Knicks one today said 100 million for RJ, better than 300 million for Brown, dollar for dollar. Probably true. Brown obviously gives his team a lot more than RJ can, but then again, you say, and I'm not going to hold this over his head, but if I'm just playing devil's advocate, the other thing is you could say, look at what Brown did these playoffs. Wasn't the greatest. He did not step up. He didn't have the greatest playoffs, although last year he had an incredible playoffs. So, but you know, it's tough. But I think that you're in a tough situation. because Boston is going to put themselves in a spot where they got 2 players that are going to make $300 million. Easy. It's not even a question. Now, the question is, will both those players be on Boston? They already gave it to Brown. Tatum's going to get it. Will Tatum get it with Boston? That's the question. So that's a situation, but I don't envy that. But the Knicks have their smaller level of problems, and they got to figure out how to get past all this. And another thing, guys, we're Knicks fans. We love the fact that our team is developing. We think they're developing. These young guys are starting to show us a little something, and we're hoping that they take another step this year. And when I say young guys, I'm really just talking about the 2, Grimes and Quickly. But the other thing is, what if they don't? What if the Knicks don't trade Quickly and they have them all year, right? What if they just, drag out the contract negotiation all year and don't give him the extension throughout the year and just let it play out, and Quickly doesn't have a great season? What if Grimes plays out this year and instead of improving off of what was a horrible offensive playoff run last year and doesn't really take a next step and doesn't show you that he's gotten better? What do you do then? Because to my knowledge, you can't keep these guys. If they don't get better this year or show something, Grimes got to go, Quickly got to go. Because you just can't keep building with guys that don't fit. They don't work for what you're trying to do. You got to make some decisions. This is a business as well as, other things that you expect to see out there. But the business side of it is important. The Knicks got to make some decisions finally. At some point, you got to make a decision.
And you can't keep doing stuff like planning to play Josh Hart at power forward because of your roster construction.
Right.
That's right. Make something fit, that doesn't fit. You're taking away a strength. Josh Hart is strong at rebounding. He's strong at running the court and all that. You're going to have him banging with these guys. Say we play the Los Angeles Lakers. You know who their backup power forward is going to be? Wood. Now imagine 6'4", 6'5" Hart on 6'11" Wood. That's going to take all his whole effort is going to be trying to stay with this guy. So forget about the loose balls and forget about, that's going to take away the game. And that's one thing I don't like. You got to sometimes you got to make hard decisions, man. Hard choice. Yeah. Say, okay, if I want Hart, we got to trade somebody. Somebody got to get traded. To me, I thought that signing DiVincenzo was a prerequisite to making a trade. That we were going to trade and finally get that 6'8", 6'9" long wing that can defend and shoot. I thought, that's okay. That's what we're doing. But here we are.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that is going to be that's the thing. That's the problem with roster construction and not having the size that you need at different positions. Eventually, there's going to be a matchup that gets you. And it's not even, it doesn't have to be the greatest team. A team that always puts us in this position is Orlando. Orlando's got tall wings. They've got good size on that team and they always put us in an uncomfortable spot, right? Their center position is at, we match up center wise, but all the other positions, they've got, longer players at those positions. We always run into a problem. That's why not for nothing. That's the reason why I think Orlando always gives us problems. If the Knicks can match up size-wise, I think we would take care of Orlando easy. But they always put us in that position. Knicks One Today says, signing Senzo is a building around JB like signing Hart. Agreed. I think so. And I think that we just got to see how it plays out. And I hope, look, I'll be happy. I don't need the Knicks to go crazy and sign some superstar player. If they can, okay. And if it works, because you don't want them. Another thing you don't want to do, because I'm telling you, there's no going back, Knicks fans. The Knicks could sign the wrong superstar player or the wrong star player, and we are stuck. Then you're going to be like, why did they bring James Harden, for example? You know what I mean? Why did they do this? And then we in trouble. You know what I mean? Instead of we can build off of this team and this team another year under Tom Thibodeau with these pieces that we got. Julius Randle, take he could take a mini step back to take another step forward. He averaged 25, 10, and 4. If he gave us 23, 10, and 4, I'm still happy with that. If it allows him to play a little bit more, put a little bit more effort on the defensive end, I can work with that. I'll take it. And the same thing, like if Jalen Brunson continues to work on his game and find out how he can better facilitate and help the rest of his teammates in crunch time, in the position when he knows the double team's coming to me, they know that I've been, scoring, or the ball's going to be in my hands. How do I find the right guy? What's our sets that we roll to, set up easy baskets instead of always looking for a kick out for another jump shot? How many times do we see the Knicks do back curls and screens so that somebody is under the baseline for an easy layup? Could I see a little bit more of that? Make it easier for your team. Don't keep making it harder for your team. And it's not on JB. I mean, that's on the coaching staff on the whole. They got to make things easier for their team. We're not a good shooting team. Okay, how can we create easier layup opportunities for this team? How can we get to everybody on this team should be a better free throw shooter than they were last year. I don't care who it is. Mitchell Robinson, if you shot 49%, you should shoot 50 this year. Like, everybody needs to be a better free throw shooter this year. There's no excuses for that. And for a Tom Thibodeau disciplinarian type team, I would expect nothing less. And they got to do that. They got to get to the line. They got to draw fouls, and they also have to continue to get these second chance opportunities by crashing the boards. I think that's how the Knicks got to play.
I think that the Knicks got to get away from that. That attitude. Some fans think, okay, we got to have a star at every position. No, man, you just got to have a solid player, And for me, I look at our roster, and that's what we're lacking. We're lacking a 6'8" to 6'9" tall wing that can shoot, defend. That's what we're missing. That's the missing piece. All right, and where would I slide him in? I would slide him in at RJ's spot, small forward. So what does that tell you? RJ,
yeah.
Au revoir.
Arrivederci.
But if I could pick one player out of the NBA and stick him into the Knicks starting lineup in place of RJ, would be Paul George. I think Paul George would fit like a glove with the New York Knicks and make them a much better team, just for fit-wise. If it wasn't for his injury history and him wanting an extension, I think that was a roll of the dice we should have made.
Well, I think if it
just had to give up RJ and say, one of the excess guards players we got in a couple of picks, I think George would have elevated us. But I understand our hesitance with him asking for, an extension, and then looking at his, his usage, his availability, which is big key. You can be the best player in the world, but, if you're not available, whatever. But
I agree.
That's what we're missing on the Knicks. We're missing a Paul George type.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I think if Paul George didn't ask for the extension, I think he would be a New York Knick. But he did, and so it is what it is now. Shout out to Hit him up. Appreciate you, my brother. He said, I'll trade RJ for Harden in a heartbeat and move Grimes to the 3. Well, look, this is what I'll say. If Harden, the problem is, if Harden was on this team, he would be a defensive liability, right? And then you're talking about a defensive backcourt of Harden and Jalen Brunson. Do you know how bad that sounds? And don't get me wrong, like I said, Jalen Brunson shows effort. Sometimes he does make some defensive stands. Obviously, he's one of the top guys in the league at drawing charges. He knows what little guys, they do what they do to try to affect the game. But he's still a bad defender. And you add Harden to the mix, who's not a bad defender. He's a terrible defender, like terrible. I don't know. And the other thing that makes it tough is Harden and Jalen Brunson don't really mix. They both have to have the ball in their hands out there. It turns into a JB and Luka situation once again. And we know, like, JB was good for Dallas, and they benefited from having him there with Luka. But really when they're both out there at the same time, Luka was the guy, right? JB would eat when Luka was on the bench or if Luka wasn't playing. With Harden there, who has to have the ball in his hands all the time, which is warranted because he does make some really good plays. Harden is a good facilitator. He gets assists. I don't see that as working. Now, I do say the benefit of having a Harden out there is he will get guys open. He'll get shots for guys. Like Grimes will benefit from a Harden or, I don't know who, maybe a DiVincenzo or someone who likes to knock it down they'll benefit from a Harden. But I don't know, man. That's a tough one for me. And shout out to Rebuild NYK. Salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you for being here. He says Kelly Oubre is still out there. Yeah, listen. Look, if I could watch the Lakers get a player who made like $14 million last year and sign him to a 2-point-something million for 2 years deal, then Kelly Oubre, listen, let's make it happen, brother. Can you take $2 million to join the Knicks? Because if they could, I don't even know if we got $2 million, but if they got $2 million, Kelly Oubre, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? Like we could use Kelly Oubre.
Who did he play for last year? I forgot. Charlotte.
Yes, I think he was with Charlotte.
Sign and trade.
I don't know if it even has to be a sign and trade. I think he's is he restricted?
I mean, to give us the money to bring him on.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, look, that might be a way to do it because Charlotte could use all the help they can get, man. Charlotte got a lot of question marks over there with that team. So, yeah, maybe, sir. That's not a bad idea.
That'd be a way to clear up our logjam too of guards.
Yeah, that would definitely do that. Because I think that could fit. And he gives us the size. He plays some decent defense. He's pretty good at shooting from the three. He's a versatile type player. He might be the piece that we need to kind of help this team, at least for the interim, before we decide what our roster needs to look like later. But right now, that would definitely help us kind of have a little better roster construction. Gives us that guy that we could put at the small forward spot. That's true. I don't know what would happen with RJ. We'd have to see. We'd probably have to move RJ somewhere to the bench or something because he can't play that three if we got a guy like Oubre here. Yeah. This is all interesting, man. This has been a
moving RJ for Oubre and some picks.
I don't know, man.
Would you do it?
Like, how much better is Oubre than RJ, though?
I think he's better at small forward.
Well, yes, he is. Let's see this.
One less player that needs the ball in his hands.
Let me take a look at Kelly Oubre's numeros over here once again, because sometimes you forget. Kelly Oubre averaged 20 points last season, 1.4 steals. Ooh, already that's nice. 0.4 blocks, 1.1 assists. He doesn't really move the ball. 5.2 rebounds. Okay. He shot 76 from the free throw line. That's pretty much right around RJ. Last year, RJ shot around that number, 74, 75, somewhere around there. Oh, well, that's actually not great. I thought he was better from three. He shot 31.9%, 32% from three. I thought he shot better from three. And he shot 43% from the field, which 44, I think, is around the league average. So that's not horrible.
Plus playing Charlotte,
Yeah. I mean, but he's 6'6". He's a pretty adequate defender. He's not great, but he's an adequate defender. Much more adequate than RJ is. So is that a good trade? I actually think that you shouldn't have to give up a lot. If RJ, I don't know if they would want to trade RJ for Kelly Oubre. I just think they would want to use RJ for a bigger chip. But I think you could trade RJ pretty much almost straight up for Kelly Oubre. I don't think you really need to give them that much more.
No, I'm saying they give us.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I got you.
We can really sign him for nothing. So this way Charlotte gets something for him.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. It's a tough one though.
Moving RJ for that either.
Yeah, I'm kind of second guessing it a little bit. I really did think that Oubre was a little bit more efficient than that. I don't know why. Maybe I saw something before, but
might have been off there for him. I think he shot better before. You know, in other teams, he shot better before.
Yeah, like consistently for his career, he's a 33% free throws. I mean, 33 from the 3-point line.
Sure.
So the year before he shot 35.5. The year before that he shot 31.6, 35 and then 32, 31. He kind of goes up and down. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's his shot selection because he took a good amount of shots. He took 7 shots. He averaged 7 shots from 3 last year per game. That's a good amount.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
but that type of player, but with a better. We get back to it. You know, since he doesn't shoot that well, 3-point line. I mean, we're stuck with RJ. You know, another RJ.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I thought, and maybe that's why Oubre's still sitting out there, and maybe also because he wants his money. But you know. So yeah, I don't know if that works, but like I said, I think that the Knicks need to just kind of play the opening season out. I mean, the beginning of the season out and see where we stand, what the team looks like, and really see if their roster construction works. If it doesn't work, they'll be in a position to make a move. They still got assets that they can move if they need to. But I like I said, I wouldn't be mad if they just went out and got themselves a 3-and-D guy and didn't go out and get a superstar player if it doesn't develop, if it doesn't present itself. And they already said Joel Embiid, apparently he's not looking to make a move right now. So I guess he's waiting to see what happens with Harden, waiting to see what the team, if they trade him, what they'll get back. And then I guess he also wants to see what Nick Nurse can do for them over there. I mean, I just think it's crazy that you bring in a guy like Nick Nurse and don't give this guy a shot to see if he can do something with your team. It's crazy, but whatever. Shout out to King Ribby, my guy. Salute to the chat. Stop bashing RJ, trying to compare him to Kelly Oubre. I mean, listen, we were talking about availability of a guy. Gotta see who we can move him for. If we brought in a Kelly Oubre, what spot you think he's playing for on the court? Small forward, right? Who's the current small forward? That's what I'm saying. You gotta. I mean, it has to happen that way. But I hear you though, King Ribby. I don't know, man. We'll see. I think that the Knicks need to kind of really pay attention to what's happening throughout the season, see what player might be available, and go out there and get them that 3-and-D guy. But not no 3-and-D guy who's limited. A guy who can do everything on the court, play that defense, and score from the 3 at a high clip, like 37%, 38% from the 3. Something that makes sense. We'll see. Only time will tell, Alan. Only time will tell, man.
Gotta play, right? Gotta play the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, man, I covered all my topics. This has been a really good show. I know I've been excited to have, Noah here today and my guy AA Alan Alford in the building. This has been fantastic.
Appreciate you having me, man. Good to see you face to face. And I just grateful for the time and allow me, to be here and speak my piece.
No doubt, man. No doubt. I mean, listen, I always
under everything, but we share one thing in common. That's Nick love.
There you go. And I always value and appreciate your takes in the chat, and it's really nice to hear them. Like I said, face to face, really dope. And thank you. And you as well as everybody else in the chat, you guys are always welcome to come on and chop it up with me on Saturdays. This is what Know the Ledge is all about. We want to give that platform for you guys to be able to come on and say your mind, say your piece, and we'll have good constructive type conversation and nothing crazy. You don't have to feel alienated or put on the spotlight for your takes and your opinions, they're welcomed here. So that goes for anybody out there who's still thinking about it, like, oh, I come on the show in the chat all the time, but I never feel like coming up here and being face to face. You're always welcome. Like I said, it's a safe space here, folks. You're definitely welcome to come up here and chop it up. And I also want to say, if you guys haven't checked it out already, please do. Please check out the NBA wrap up on Nothing But Knicks on Thursdays at 8:30. It's our newest show. It's a mix of NBA and hip hop. It's 2 halves of the show. Even if you don't want to watch both halves, if you're only interested in seeing what we do and talk about the NBA, fine. You can watch the first half of the show. Or if you want something different, like, oh, we always talk basketball. I'd like to see what you guys talk about with the hip hop stuff and your special guest and, what their talent is and all that. You're welcome to tune into the second half of the show. We got you covered. So, and if you guys watched this most recent show, we had Apollo Reed from the Guard Up Knicks podcast. You guys know Apollo has a show with his brother and his cousin, and also, Regular Joe. It's Regular Joe, Rick the Ruler, Apollo, and Andre Reed. Man, really good conversation. They definitely talk about Knicks. They know their stuff. And also Apollo is, dabbles as an MC. He does his thing. He even released an EP. So it's really good to chop it up with him. Got to hear one of his tracks, and he performed a little acapella for us. So yeah, man, if you haven't already checked out that show, please do. That's the NBA wrap up on the Nothing But Knicks network. You can definitely go check that out. And we hope to continue to give you more and more shows like that. So, any final words, Alan? Anything you want to say before you get out of here?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to you, Ron, and always providing us a platform, to be heard, and for your efforts. I know this takes time out of your family life, out of your personal life, and for you to dedicate yourself to this, means a lot. It means a lot to me. And once again, I just thank you for the opportunity to be here, be heard, be seen. And let's go Knicks, man.
Yes, man. Thank you. Appreciate you once again.
Training camp. 3 weeks.
Yes. Oh, it's right around I can't wait, man. I cannot wait. Wait.
But I'm more excited for Big Blue tomorrow. Let's get it done.
Yes, definitely. Oh, right. Another thing too, back to the NBA wrap-up, guys. The other thing is not only tune in and watch, but if you guys know anybody, or if you have your own talent, whatever, if you know anybody that you think, hey, my cousin or my nephew, my son, they're taking this hip-hop thing very serious, maybe they could be on the show. By all means, like the email address, let me do this. This is really, I use it for when you're on the show and just watched it. So ignore the first part of it. It's like you just watched it, okay? But this is where you can reach out to us. Thank you for watching the NBA wrap-up. If you would like to be on the show and you are a hip-hop artist or a beat maker / producer, please hit us up. Email us at the NBA wrap-up at gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at _NBA_wrap_up. And stay tuned for more and more content coming from the NBA wrap up. Still Knick fans, Nothing But Knicks. Please support our shows. We appreciate you. Later. Yeah, so guys, definitely, it's not just about watching it. If you know anybody that you think might be interested in doing the show, or you think would be a good fit, by all means, they can reach out, or you can reach out on their behalf, and we're definitely willing and welcome to all people that have talent and would like to be a part of the show. And like I said before, we split the show in 2 halves now, so you don't even have to do the first half of the show. If you don't know about the NBA, don't feel comfortable talking about it, you can come on in the second half. No big deal. Either way. So I want to thank everybody once again. Thank you to the chat. You guys have been great. You've been very spirited today, talking a lot. You guys have been going back and forth and having a good conversation. Thank you guys. Appreciate you as always. And just continue to support. As I always say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still Knick fans, we'll be back again, whether it be on Saturdays at 11:30-ish for Know the Ledge, Monday nights for SKF Weekly with your mans Ron and John, and the return of Jose at 9 p.m. on Monday nights. or on Thursday nights for the NBA wrap-up at 8:30 on Nothing But Knicks. Thank you guys once again. I appreciate all of you. You guys have a great rest of your day. Hopefully the weather holds up. I know it's probably going to rain a little bit, especially if you're on the East Coast, but it is what it is. We still make the best of it. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your families, and try to stay out of trouble, man. You know, trouble's always finding people. Stay out of trouble. All right. Take care. Appreciate
One
you
love.
once again. Latest.